Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Township Council Agenda Meeting, November 12th, 2014. Meeting called to order by myself at 7:30 p.m. Please rise for the flag salute. Mr. Valori, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Karifi.
Here.
Mr. DePiero.
Here.
Mr. Paluso.
Present.
Mr. Stanton.
Here.
Mr. Valori.
Here.
Others present, Mayor James R. Barbario, L&M Sandman, Business Administrator, Paula Cosarelli, Assistant Business Administrator, John Inglesino, Esquire, Township Attorney, Yancy Wazermas, Township Clerk, and Ann Cucci, CFO. The purpose of this meeting is to set the agenda for the regular Township Council meeting of November 25th, 2014. Formal action may or may not be taken.
Statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 18, 2013, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in both the Daily Record on December 20, 2013, and the Star Ledger on December 23, 2013, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on December 18, 2013. Note, council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net.
Presentations. Presentation for Smithfield. Mr. Walsh.
While Jim is setting up, there was some inquiries as to where we were going with regard to the improvements at the field. And I asked Mr. Walsh to come on out and show us a couple of things. One, not only what it's going to look like, but some of the things that they have to go through as you deal with a field where there are already things on that field. So Jim will address the, not so much the difficulty, but just it's much more involved when there's other, yeah, great. Thank you, Jim.
You better grab the microphone.
Yeah.
It's working, I checked.
Thank you. These two pictures are of a rendering of Smithfield, the existing and the proposed. We are currently probably 75 to 80% done with the plans and the bid specs, and we've been working on this for quite some time. The reason is that when you have a park, if you have a blank canvas per se, a piece of property with nothing on it, it's very easy to put what you want there. When you have something that's existing, you need to meld the existing with the proposed so that everything works out so that you're not compromising something and it all works into it. Smithfield has been there 40, 45 years. Okay, more than 45 years. And it's been added on to for quite a long time. For us to make everything work and make it easy, that's what it's basically taking our time. We're adding, as you can see in this area, the parking area. The tennis courts and that are going to be relocated over to here. The basketball courts also, so you're going to wind up with your hard surface playing fields here, your basketball, tennis, handball, all under lights. Your artificial turf field under lights. We're not touching the grove of trees at Smithfield. We're leaving that. We are relocating the pavilion a little bit further over because we're going to put a large play structure for, actually two play structures. There's two different levels, 2 to 5 and a 5 to 12-year-old with swings, something for the kids to play on. We are adding, we're eliminating one restroom and we're adding two, one to take up this area down here, and then the other one for A field, and also relieve that smaller bathroom that's down by B field, which gets overrun at just about every function that we have. In doing so with the utilities, that's what's taking us a very long time. We have electric, we have transformers, and that are, you know, substantially old, that cannot handle the new power that we're going to be asking for. So Jersey Central is working with us to come up with one hookup, basically eliminating a transformer that's, I don't know how old it is. It's got to be at least 40, if not older, over along A field. So we have all those wires to contend with. We have all the wires coming in to make it all work. Again, your plumbing, your sewers, that all has to be, you know, put into play here. So we are working on it. We've been working on it, but you know, we want to get it right. There's nothing worse than having a project go halfway through and you find something that stalls it, and you know, it doesn't. It might not start up again.
Jim, the extra field that we're adding, that's going to be a multi-purpose. It'll be used for cricket and
Yes.
Ball, soccer.
What I have on here is just a rendering, but it's got field hockey, lacrosse, cricket, and this is supposed to be brown, but it's going to be a softball field with 60 and 65-foot base anchors. The field itself is about 330 feet long and wide. That's as wide as we can make it without going into the grove of trees. And that will be a multi-purpose small ball field.
right.
Mr. Walsh, is that going to be an overlay on the fields where you have one sport overlaying another? Like, for instance, baseball fields and cricket fields can overlay each other, and they can change them out?
Yes, we're probably one of the only towns that get the turf non-lined, because we line everything ourselves.
That's great.
We go out and we line it. As the sport comes up, you know, springtime on most of the turf fields is soccer. Football comes in the fall. Lacrosse comes up. Right now we're using, Generone has boys and girls lacrosse, field hockey, soccer, and football. So this will alleviate some of the use up there. It'll bring it back down here. And really, the way this field is laid out, we should be able to get two fields diagonally. They just did this as a rendering to show what's there. So, you know, by doing the lines yourself, we can control how bright the lines are. It's better, you know, visibility.
Question for you. In regards to drainage for the field itself, I had the opportunity to go to many games up at the county park over there in Greystone. And what I saw from the events that I went to when there was really bad rainstorms, that field up there, there's several of them up there, soccer fields, they weren't draining at all. And there was a lot of complaints about that. So I was wondering if we have any safeguards in place for, you know, we don't run into the same problems.
Well,
Drainage.
I can't speak for their turf fields, but we've had issues in the past.
Yeah, okay.
Usually it's after grooming. And because it's a synthetic turf field, when you groom it, sometimes it creates static electricity, which doesn't allow the water to go through. Normally you can spray fabric softener,
That's what they were
dilute
saying,
fabric
fabric
softener and
softener,
spray
okay.
it. We did have Generone, when it was first put down, had an issue, and we put down something to help it go through other than fabric softener. But most of the time it's from grooming or just the static electricity that doesn't allow the water to go through.
Okay, great.
So
thank
that
you.
might be what they need
Okay.
to do up there.
You said with the two, we'll be able to have, for instance, we could have two lacrosse games going on at once. Two
Yes.
fields there? Right.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
this is just lengthwise. They just put this in as a
Right,
rendering, but we
right.
should be able to have two fields side by side, whether it's lacrosse, field hockey, you know, something
I know
along
you
that
may
lines.
not be able to answer this question, but any approximate time frame when this project would be completed?
Well, we have a very broad time frame. I'm hoping that the specs should be done in December, should be out to bid probably by the end of December, beginning of January, and it goes through the council's meeting and all that. Hopefully, a good estimate would be a 5 to 6 month period after that, so July, August,
Oh,
if
great.
all
So
goes well.
The summer, or late
Yes.
summer?
Yeah,
Oh,
mid to
great.
late summer. Again, the nice part about this is we're not really affecting the rest of Smithfield. We're going to allow the contractor to come in, and instead of doing it in phases like we originally wanted to do, we're going to let him come in and do the bulk of it so they can come in and get, a lot of this done and get out of the way.
The new field, full lights?
Yes, all lights, all must go, all time, like are the other ones.
That's great, okay.
Has there also been an environmental test on the part of the property that the lawn care place was on?
Which one?
On the portion of it that we secured, I guess where the restrooms would be, there was a lawn care facility that did lawn feeding. Was there any environmental test done on that property?
On Grange Road.
Grange?
That might have been done when we purchased the property.
Yeah, we'll
We'd have to
definitely
look
look
at
into
that.
that,
We
but,
can look into that.
Now, we will not purchase property
Yeah, so I'm sure it
unless
had
we
its,
do
yeah,
soil tests.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's been done.
yeah, but we can just verify when it was done.
Yeah, because I'm just concerned about
Yeah.
the safety of the children, likewise with the water drainage, because they can sprain their ankle and everything if it's not properly drained. Also, can you answer a question with the tree line? You had indicated that you don't want to cut into the trees. How many trees are we removing from the property? Is there a count as of now?
There's not a count, but it's basically just this area right here.
Are these fertile trees, or are they dead, or?
A lot of it's small, brush, there's nothing really substantial. The substantial trees are over in the grove, the picnic grove, and that's what we're avoiding.
Why don't you give us where is Route 80, where is Grange Road?
Route 80's right here.
Grange Road is?
Grange Road is here.
Grange Road.
Here's 46, the diner is right here.
Right.
So you'll basically come in, flow through here. Grange Road will still remain a two-way road, but the thought is come in here. There's no parking here, so at least you can drop your kids off or, and move on.
In regards to the parking, I know on the other side of Smithsfield, we had a problem with the commuter parking many years ago. Will this be restricted to commuter parking and only be dedicated to these fields, or will there be a mix?
It's Green Acres property.
Yeah.
So
I doubt there'd be any.
I don't think there would be any commuter parking in this. I think the commuter parking is here and here,
Right.
So we would have to put up some signs just restricting that?
probably, yeah.
Okay.
Jim,
Just
off the record, I mean, not on, excuse me, on the record, how many parking spaces do you believe you've just added, knowing you're opening up for all that activity there? Roughly in that section there, how many spots are there about? I mean, it looks like it's pretty much, we're not losing anything, we're just gaining.
You probably have close to 100 spaces there.
Okay.
And that's going to service, I mean, right now, you don't have this.
Yeah.
And you have 4 fields here, which I know sometimes the parking's crazy, it depends on where you are. But you're adding this for this, and part of a field. So that should take the pressure off of Baldwin Road parking.
And is there any plans for the house that we were leasing to the soccer organization? And where the
That's
dirt
not
was-
part of this.
That's not part of it?
No, the house used to be here.
That's gone,
That's gone, yeah. When they did the rendering, they didn't know the house.
Because I understood some years ago there was going to be providing parking in that location, so I was just thinking out loud that if we're putting in parking in one spot, we may want to consider putting parking in the other, if that's still the plan.
Well, we do have proposed here.
But that was one of the
Yeah.
what Rob,
But
the
that's-
councilman's saying is that we're considering making that more parking for the PAL and for that area over
Well,
there.
there.
And if you look at the rendering, there is additional parking down there that's not shown above on the old, so there's some additional
noticed
parking
that,
down there. Yep,
Thank you.
very good. And so you had mentioned there's approximately 75%.
Yeah, we're about 75 to 80% done with the specs and the planning. Again, there's just, soil tests, all kinds of underground borings that they've been doing to make sure that the drainage good and work. The parking lot with the new DEP, stormwater rules, you can't have stuff drain off, so you have to have a different filtration system now before it gets out. It has to go down and filter through. So that's all going to be worked into, the plan.
Thank you, thanks.
Any more
Thank you
questions?
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Walsh.
Thank you.
Good, yeah, they definitely have.
honestly.
Great. Nice job, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll have a short presentation from Fairview Insurance Agency, Associates Incorporated. Thank you. Thank you. Bill?
Good evening. My name is Ryan Graham, an employee benefits consultant with Fairview Insurance. I've been with the firm since 1998. Our firm has been doing public sector work since the 1970s, and I've personally been doing public sector work for nearly 15 years. Just a little bit about myself. I'm currently a board member for NJ Air. That's a state insurance oversight committee. What we do is we review financials and regulatory issues with all insurance carriers in New Jersey. I've also been a current member of the Essex County WIP Board for nearly 10 years. And currently my role at the firm is I am in charge of all the employee benefit programs for all of our clients for Fairview Insurance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Michael Graham. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Fairview Insurance. I'm also an attorney barred in New Jersey, New York. I was formerly a labor and employment litigator for a first-tier law firm, and I have advised Fortune 100 companies on state, federal, and local government regulations and compliance. And prior to that, I worked for 7 years as a benefits consultant for my family's company, Fairview Insurance. Turning to the next slide, we're a third-generation family firm with over 40 years of experience. We currently represent over 20 public sector clients throughout New Jersey, and our agency is on a national scale. We have broker representation in 37 states throughout the country.
Next slide is slide 3. This is going to be an overview, brief overview of our staff. Currently, Julie Graham, she's your senior account executive with Fairview Insurance. She's responsible for the annual marketing of insurance programs. She creates and maintains all of our employee benefit websites. She provides legislative updates for the administration. She manages plan document accuracy and compliance. She coordinates open enrollment meetings, monitors monthly claims utilization. She tracks eligibility. She works very closely with the wellness coach to support all the wellness initiatives. She engages in any other assistance that is needed of the administration. Behind Julie, we have Doris and Jackie. They are our in-house account managers. They are the in-house liaisons for the township members between themselves and the insurance carriers. They are the initial point of contact for all the member inquiries that any complaint that may occur. Their primary function is resolving billing issues in a timely manner between billing companies, doctor offices, hospitals, any type of credit agencies that may occur. They also attend all open enrollment meetings and health fairs and are responsible for facilitating your COBRA administration. The next slide, this is just a brief history of our firm's public sector experience for the last 15 years.
And turning to slide 5, as you can see, our firm provides a wide array of support and advice for all of our clients. We function as the back office support team for your administration. Some of the key areas we advise are union negotiations and budget and legislative issues. Our staff can handle all of your administrative needs, including COBRA administration, employee additions, deletions, and other changes, and insurance carrier negotiations to ensure that you receive the best plan at the lowest cost and that your plan complies with collective bargaining agreements.
Turning to slide 6. This is a snapshot of the employee benefit website that we provide for the township. This website has a full function of various issues that they cover without the website. Some of the information it has is the current benefit plan designs by union collective bargaining agreements. They also contain information on overall health and wellness. They also cover areas of human resource issues, information about the Affordable Care Act, and any other pertinent information that is needed for the employees. On to slide 7. As I previously stated before, I do have in-house staff that handles all benefit issues, but Fairview also provides a very robust call center for all your employee members, especially during non-working hours. So the employees, they have 24/7 access to the center. Each representative at the call center has full access to their personal plan designs and their plan structures. The representatives, they can verify all eligibility during the non-working hours. They assist in any claim issues. More specifically, they have the ability to coordinate care between doctors and specialists for catastrophic claim issues. Basically, it's a 24/7 concierge service for your employees. Slide 8. This is a sample of our in-house tracking system for all your eligible members that we keep internally. All of our benefit staff have access to this system so that when a member contacts our office, any staff member could just go into this system, look up what the claim issue is, and handle the issue accordingly.
Turning to slide 9, we provide all of our clients with an online HR system. The administration has access to this web portal. It's at their disposal to research any HR issues that may occur. It covers state and federal guidelines for employee benefits. It provides information regarding customizing handbooks and information regarding performance reviews and a lot more. And as legislative changes occur, our system automatically sends out these updates with explanations to the administration.
Slide 10. This is discuss some information that okay. That's a sample wallet-sized card we provide all the members. The card basically is a contact card that contains all Fairview's contact information, your carrier information, the 24/7 hotline, and the benefit website with their username and password. Slide 11. Fairview implemented on-site wellness coaching to the township approximately 4 years ago. Our firm's belief is that containing healthcare costs, you have to truly attack the cost. And by attacking the cost, that means changing employee behavior. Just this year alone, the coach has identified 14 potential high claimants. Currently, last year to this year, we're spending approximately about $1 million less in claims. We feel so strongly about the effectiveness of this program that at our own expense, Fairview wants to pay and add additional 2 days of coaching to this wellness coaching program. Majority of our competitors, they use telephonic, web-based portals, Skype sessions, but the penetration level for these type of programs is under 14%. Penetration level we have here with our clients in the township is approximately 90%. That's why we're getting such great results. It's been a major contributor to the township for moving from high single-digit renewals to low single-digit renewals. In fact, national trend's about 8.5% renewals. Parsippany is averaging between 1.5% to 3.5%, which is well below national average. Based upon this year's data alone, we feel very confident that we're going to see a reduction in costs come 2015. Slide 12, this is just a brief history of some of our notable achievements. Township of Bloomfield, we moved them out of state health benefits in 2006. We saved them roughly $750,000. I personally was involved with the labor attorney in assisting the township in various grievance issues that occurred. The work that we did with the labor attorney and the municipality, we actually had a favorable ruling on behalf of the township. We implemented on-site wellness coaching there as well. And consequently, throughout the years, we've been having much better renewals and great success. City of Passaic Board of Education, we saved about $150,000 by leaving the state health benefits. And again, they had a union grievance issue, which we were there to work with the labor attorney. We got a very favorable ruling in favor of the Board of Education as well with the work we did. We also performed an eligibility audit for all 2,200 members. We actually found another $100,000 worth of savings with that audit. Also, the Township of West Orange, we saved them about $350,000 in 2010 by moving them out of the state. Implemented on-site wellness coaching there, and we have an aggregate savings of about $3 million so far versus the state. Final slide. Township of Parsippany, and back in 2007, we moved them out of the state for approximately $750,000 savings. To date, we saved nearly $3 million versus the state health benefits. We've also been very successful at various points of times when collective bargaining agreements expire to work with the administration to propose plan changes that helped create lower cost claims, lower premium. As I previously stated, for the township, we did implement an on-site wellness coaching back in 2010. And we feel that that work that we've done between union negotiations and the coaching program, that we feel that we continue to do a great job for the township in moving it forward. Thank you. So we'd like to open up for any questions.
I guess I'll start off. I'm sure you know this question's coming. We had a couple presentations at our last meeting, and one of the individuals got up and said that our town was eligible for a guaranteed reimbursement that we did not file for, which could have been up to $500,000. Why didn't we do that?
Well, Councilman, respectfully, the $500,000 number, I'm not sure how that was calculated. At the time that we reviewed this with your administrator, I don't recall the numbers exactly, but it was maybe 5 individuals were eligible for reimbursement. There were certain eligibility requirements. And to give you some context, during that period, the focus of the administrator, our focus, was on restructuring your prescription drug program, which was a significant cost driver to the municipality. We were able to negotiate with the unions for higher copays, and we were able to implement a program that heavily promoted generic use over brand name use, and that significantly reduced the cost of your insurances. In addition, Councilman, that was the same period that we're implementing your wellness program. And as we noted previously, that has reduced your renewals from low double-digit to single-digit renewals. We saw a reduction in claims of $1.1 million, and we're expecting a reduction in your premium next year. So the structural changes, the priority at that time was these structural changes to ensure that you receive savings year after year.
But couldn't we have received those savings as well as gotten that money back?
Sure, Councilman, but again, we were focused on that prescription program, which was a significant cost driver, and it was also the wellness coaching program that has significantly reduced your claims.
Actually, Councilman, just to clarify, less than 1% of New Jersey public entities actually received any type of reimbursement. So the likelihood of us getting a reimbursement was very, very low.
Okay.
And besides, wasn't that for Jersey City or some big city that,
We said it was
When
based
they
on how
quoted-
many employees you had
Yeah,
that were
the
eligible.
The program was really geared towards large unions and large
yeah.
private companies, AT&T, Verizon. That's where the money really went. The money was spent
Was ran out
very
of money,
quickly.
didn't it run out of
There
money?
was
They had
al-
money in a couple of years. They shut down the program after 2 years. It's supposed to be a 5
Yeah, that's what he had
program.
said.
Yeah, they set aside $5 billion, and it was spent within, I think, 18 months.
Yeah, I have several questions. Do you mind? Okay, yeah. Is there any reason why you didn't show up for our last council meeting to do the presentation, where the others did?
We were told that we were appointed, Councilman. We didn't know that we were required to show up. We were told we were appointed as your brokers.
You were appointed by the mayor, but you
Received
still,
a letter from the township.
okay, but you still realize that you have to go in front of the council for approval.
I appreciate you guys giving us a chance to talk to you.
Okay, it would have been nice to see you there with all the other folks doing the presentation, and it would have been much more smoother seeing that, where we're now giving you the consideration to come in front of us again.
Thank you, Councilman.
But
We do
that's
appreciate
just
that.
one question. Secondly, how many towns in Morris County do you do business with? Because I know you mentioned a lot of Essex County towns. What towns in Morris County do you do business with?
Currently, we do Township of Parsippany, we do the Township of Morristown. We do
Okay.
some risk manager contracts with some other municipalities.
So just Parsippany and Morristown? in Morris County. Okay. Other question I have for you in regards to, what's your track record in regards to complaints coming in for bills not being paid in a timely manner?
Well, we do track all complaints from employees as they come in. Each matter has its own issue that we have to attend to. Sometimes we can resolve a matter with one simple phone call.
So my point is,
Sometimes
what's your tracking record, though? You're telling me how you resolve them, but what is usually the, how can I say it in an easy way, where the employee is not making phone call after phone call to get reimbursed? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it 6 months? Because I speak to many employees, and that's one concern that I have of your company.
Well, Councilman, as the Chief Operating Officer, we take that very seriously, and if there are complaints, please bring them to me. We're not just here for the employees, we're here for all of you.
Okay.
We're at your service, and if there's a problem with our service department, I'm going to take care of that tomorrow. So
Okay,
I would ask you to please send me any information you have on that, but we're not aware of any issues currently with the Township of Parsippany, and I would love to have some information like that. If you have available, any documents you have, Councilman, please give them to me.
I don't think, I think the question was relative to, as I understand it, your company gets involved in terms of negotiating claims,
Yes,
correct?
Counselor.
So I think the Councilman's question had to do with dissatisfaction with some in terms of
Yeah,
the
I think you're
resolution of
asking
the
for
claims.
what's the turnaround time?
But wait a minute, no,
No,
that's
go on.
it's not.
No?
I think his question was about some frustration with the resolution of claims. You aren't the.
We're not the carrier.
You're not the carrier. You're playing a role in terms of trying to facilitate the resolution of the
Correct.
claims. So isn't it true that some of the frustration is directed at the carrier as opposed to, and that's what I'm trying to understand, is
Yeah.
whether or not it's
And
a,
that's-
it's a frustration of
yeah.
not responsiveness
So-
on your part, or a general frustration with the carrier, understanding that you're playing a facilitating role in terms of
Correct.
trying to
And
resolve
this
those
is-
claims.
I'm glad the attorney's using, obviously, the legal end here.
Thank you, Counsel.
But the reality is, you're the broker. You're
Correct.
going to make sure that we're getting the service that we're paying you for. Obviously, we're
Absolutely.
paying out for those premiums for. But I know that there's a history here of major concerns of bills not being paid in a timely manner. So what do you guys do to make sure that it's corrected? Or do you have some type of tracking system of, like, what's the most common complaint? Is it because there's two identifiers of the insurance company? I don't know. I'm trying to ask, you guys are the experts.
Sure, absolutely. Now, look, every insurance carrier, no carrier is perfect. There's always issues that arise. No claim is ever, sometimes claims don't get paid properly. Sometimes there's reasons because it wasn't coded properly by the doctor, it wasn't filed properly, and it's our job to mitigate those issues, and we do a very good job of that. We have a very high level of service that we do provide. My internal people used to work for Cigna, and they also used to work for Horizon. They understand those internal nuances. They know how to mitigate those issues. Now, I will say this, sometimes claims do arise, and it's our job to also protect the township. I have to play both ends. I want to make sure that the employee and the members covered properly, but I also have to protect the township on the side to make sure that if a claim isn't supposed to be paid by
Okay.
medical, it should be maybe workers' comp, or maybe it's a claim that shouldn't be paid at all. I have to monitor that, make sure it's done the right way, because I have a financial responsibility to you guys also.
And you're bringing up a great point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the answer that I probably would have liked was that, hey, we get this as the most common complaint, and however, we do get some possibly fraudulent complaints, and, hey, we saved you X amount of dollars.
And we've
So I wish I would have had your analysis. You're telling me something, but I wish I would have had truly an analysis of, because that's a big part of why we're doing business with a particular broker, because it's just not the employee, it's the family members that have to suffer and have to make sure that their kids' bills are getting paid, the loved ones, so there's a lot that goes with this.
And we do mitigate those issues, Councilman. But like I said, each claim has its own merit. I can't discuss, obviously, for HIPAA purposes, internal
Okay.
details of
Well, I don't want
personal
anybody's
issues.
name, but,
right.
but if
And
it's
nor do I
generalization-
want to bring up certain various aspects of the plan that I feel could, maybe be a HIPAA compliant issue. But I will tell you this: we do mitigate claims in a very quick period of time. Sometimes claims do take longer if it's a catastrophic situation. There's billing issues. Sometimes things have to go under medical review and be determined if it's medically necessary to for the township to pay that claim. Sometimes there's an oversight board. with these medical insurance carriers, and we have to work with them, with the member and the board to see what the proper resolution is. So
Okay,
it's a claim-by-claim basis.
okay.
And Councilman, again, I implore you, if you have any complaints, please, my door is open to you, my phone number is open to you at any time. Please call me, and I will make sure that those claims
Okay.
are mitigated.
And I'll do that. And here's another question I have for you. How does the Cadillac tax work under the Affordable Care Act? What will be the impact on our insurance programs, and what are the amounts above which we would be taxed on?
Well, Councilman, that plan, the Cadillac tax goes into effect in 2018.
Okay.
We'll be working with your administration continuously to make sure it will require certain plan changes, certain structural changes. There may be some collective bargaining issues that we'll have to discuss with you and the administration. But that is something that we will be continuously talking to you and the administration about over the next 3 years.
And what would the percentage on that be, you think, for an increase on that tax?
It's, frankly, Councilman, again, this is something that we'll obviously discuss with you guys internally, because it will have to deal with some collective bargaining issues.
Just to let you know, my answer to my research is, you're right, 2018, but there will be a 40% excise tax on that. So there's a lot more that goes to the answer there. Okay, another question I have for you. Did the township collect money from Medicare under the retiree drug subsidy program? And if so, how much?
Well, Councilman, currently, your past administrations have done an excellent job of negotiating with the collective bargaining units. I don't believe, you don't pay for Medicare Part D, is that what you're asking about, Councilman?
Yes.
Yeah, that's for a program for individuals 65 years and older who are retired. You currently do not pay for retirees 65 years and older, with the exception of the police force. When we analyzed this with your administrator, your previous administrator, the cost of administrating the reimbursements was nearly equal to the recovery, and the decision was made then not to move forward with the reimbursements. However, this is something that we have been planning on revisiting with your current administrator.
All right, I'll take up one more question, then I'll pass it on to my colleagues, and then I'll come back to you. How much does the township owe under the two fees that self-insured plans have to pay directly to the federal government, and what are those fees called?
Court fees, but they're per head fees, and Julie Graham works with the administration, and she works with the cost upon that.
Okay, anybody get questions, then I'll come back.
It actually sparked some questions of my own from what Councilman Valori was saying. How often do you audit the medical claims?
Julie reviews her claims every single month, especially if there's some high spiking claims. If there's a high claimant, we want to review and see what that is, what's taking place. We do a monthly review. We want to make sure there's nothing, I'd say, shocking that we need to be prepared for.
Okay, and as far as your call center, do you have a dedicated 1-800 number for the call center for the employees to call? And is it the same person that they'll be reaching?
We have a 1-800 number in-house for the in-house administration. We do provide. We have a toll-free number for a 24/7 call center.
I didn't see
it's
it in your book here.
I know, it may be a little hard to read, but it was in one of those slides. I can give you a copy of it.
Okay, no, I can find it. Thank you, though. How many claims do you go through annually?
For Parsippany,
Yes.
just Parsippany?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Approximately.
I'd say probably we average between 500 to 1,000 claims per year. And that requires multiple phone calls. It's not just the member calling with an inquiry. It can also become, obviously, like I said before, a review board. There's a lot of calls that go in and out.
Okay. And is there a feasibility study that's completed to ensure that it makes sense for us to remain self-funded?
Absolutely. We wouldn't have moved you guys to a self-insured plan if it didn't make any sense.
But do you do a study on it?
Yeah, we review your plan every single year. We check the marketplace, see how a fully insured marketplace would look. But you guys have been running very, very well on a self-insured basis, and we recommend you stay that way.
And you said in that 800 number, you have a dedicated associate that understands the plans that we have for Parsippany?
Correct. So obviously, we have multiple plans for the township, obviously with multiple bargaining units. So when the member does call, they tell them which unit they're with, and they know which plan structure to go with.
Okay. I was talking to you earlier, one of the things that, I wish you would have been here with everybody else, because I would have asked the same questions to every company coming in. So it's hard to recall all the questions that I did ask. So one of the questions I did remember that I asked was, if I was to contact one of your clients, such as the Township of Morristown, or I contacted the Borough of Caldwell, what would they say about your service? Tell me a little bit about how they would feel.
Borough Caldwell we have for about 6-7 years. We actually moved them back to the state health benefits back in 2011. So we're not the broker there anymore, because the state doesn't work with brokers, but Morristown speaks very highly of us. Caldwell, the current administrator, who worked very closely with Julie and I, spoke very highly of us. But feel free to call any member, and I could give you any. If you want to email me, I'll give you their contact
So
information.
you're no longer with the Borough of Caldwell?
We're there for the risk manager, but again, we do what we think is best for the borough. So when we were coming into a plan year, we analyzed the state like we do for you guys. We analyzed it for them. At the time, it made financial sense, so we moved them back to the state. And we do every single year work with you folks on the renewal process. One of the plans we do quote is the state health benefits, and thankfully, you guys have been trending very, very well. We're cheaper than the state.
Thank you.
All right, two other questions I have. Mr. DePiro, you have any questions?
No.
Okay, I don't want to think I'm hogging up everything here. And, unfortunately for you, we had more time to prepare to ask you questions while everybody else was going back and forth. How are you recommending we coordinate the maximum out-of-pocket limits imposed under the American Care Act between our medical and prescription drug program?
Well, Councilman, the maximum out-of-pocket, I believe, is somewhere in the range of $6,000 to $13,000. With your co-pays, it's extremely unlikely that any member will ever hit that level. I think the co-pays are what, like $2?
$5.
Varies between, but your co-pays, with the way your co-pays are structured, it's highly unlikely you'll hit that maximum out-of-pocket. But we constantly monitor that for you.
Okay, all right. Looking at my answers here that I did some research on. What are the specialty drugs? What should we be doing to cope with the costs of those particular drugs?
It's a brutal subject, and I can only speak personally because we're obviously, from a personal level, we see with these drugs.
And what are some of the drugs? So I have a little list here.
Well, frankly, Councilman, I understand. Look, prescription, there are new specialty drugs coming out there in the marketplace for Hep C, for cancer. Our own mother experienced her second bout of ovarian cancer. And what I can tell you this is that they are expensive. We're fully aware of that. We do promote generic usage of drugs, but these drugs do, at the end of the day, we believe they are saving lives. Hep C, for instance, this drug, you're going to be on it for 3-4 months, and they say it could potentially cure Hep C. Right now, like for instance, cancer, there's a new breakthrough drug that our mother is on, and they say they're going to treat it like diabetes. They say that we can now treat cancer like diabetes, like any other illness. So it's a very unique field of what's going on. I'm happy to see that there are breakthrough drugs to handle some of these heavy issues.
Okay, so you know what's coming your way in regards to these specialty drugs.
Yes, Councilman, and I will say there are a lot of drugs that are very expensive. Some of them range about $10,000 per fill. Some range a little bit more. Again, we try to promote generic usage where there's generic availables, but some of these drugs are on patent. They're new breakthrough drugs, and they will cost money. And we'll work with you guys on that as it comes up.
Okay, and the last question I have in regards to your wellness program, and I know that there was some, differences of opinion in regards to the wellness program from the other presenters. So tell me a little bit about your wellness program and...
Sure. Thank you, Councilman. Basically, what we investigate in the marketplace, it's, as I previously said before, the only way to really lower costs is by changing employee behavior, whether it's diet, whether it's exercise, whatever that person's particular issue is. So it's a coaching program where someone will come on site, someone is on site, they meet with employees on a one-on-one private atmosphere, and the employee then discusses with them in 6 to 10 minute sessions what their issues are, and the coach will coach them on that issue. Some folks, shockingly, haven't been to a doctor we've seen in sometimes 2, 3, 4 years, and it's one issue I can clearly state is that we had someone with type 2 hypertension, blood pressure. That coach identified it, and the person got treatment. and now he's having some very favorable results. So it's about one-on-one interactions, and each employee has what their own issue is, and that's what the coach is designed to do, is to deal with that issue. And then coach them on other issues. The typical marketplace, what we see with our competitors, like as I said before, it's a lot of telephonic, it's web-based type coaching programs. But let's be honest, you're not going to get the penetration, because to try to get somebody to go on a web portal, it just doesn't really work.
Okay.
So that's why we feel that this program is the most effective. We've been seeing some very dramatic results. To have a 90% penetration level of your employees and seeing true change in employee behaviors and claims reducing, that's what we're all about.
Okay, and how many members or employees of, within the Township of Parsippany that are employed, how many are members of the wellness program?
Out of the, again, it's about 88, 90%, so divided by 550 members, again.
So Mayor Rose, again, because I know that you were pushing big on that.
I think it's I'm one of the members of it, but I think it's 300 and maybe in that 290, 300 employees. I don't know.
That are members,
Right.
that are
That
members.
go,
And retirees.
yeah, well, I'll just give you an example. We'll use me for an example. I don't mind using myself.
Okay,
I was diagnosed high blood pressure, 160 over 110. And I don't know why, but
you have no pressures here, you should be under stress.
but that's beside the point. But with the wellness coach, my last 6 weeks' readings have been 120 over 70, 120 over 80. And when you experience that, less visits to the doctor, and the wellness coach makes you aware, lifestyle changes and all that kind of stuff. And we've been successful with that with other township employees. We run programs, we run contests, and I got to tell you, it's been very successful.
Okay, and obviously with the wellness program, it's strictly voluntary.
Correct.
Okay.
You can never force anybody into.
So, once hopefully the folks sign up, you obviously change their pattern of habits to improve.
The way it was rolled out, Councilman, there was an initial rollout. It was an introduction about what this is, and obviously it was an explanation to the employees that your information, obviously there's always a little pushback. There's the information that you tell your coach will not go back to the administration or any governing body, and what they do is on a 3-day-a-week basis, they'll have little handouts that they produce, whether it's blood pressure this month, whether it's cholesterol this month, whatever topic that we're trying to reach out, and that's the way the interaction takes place. And what typically happens at that point is the employee will then ask the coach questions, and then the coaching begins.
Okay.
Do we pay additionally for that service, for the wellness coaching?
You guys currently pay additionally for it, but Fairview is actually going to add to the coaching program, which we're going to pay for.
What do we pay for it right now?
I don't know, Councilman. That was something that you guys did 4 years ago. I don't know what the
Yeah, I think it
cost
was like
details were.
36,000, I think.
No,
My
it's more than
memory
that.
serves.
72,000.
Yeah, that was when I wasn't a councilman.
Yeah.
Sitting in the audience listening. One of the questions I had for the wellness program is, do you have any reimbursements for the employees? I know I belong to a wellness program for my employer, and they'll induce me to be involved and to get tests, and they'll give me like a $25 gift card or something.
Yeah, we
do that.
We do that.
It's a great question, Councilman. What takes place right now is Julie Graham from our office. She works very closely with the wellness coach on what is taking place. She'll tell Julie, hey, listen, we want to promote this, that, there's a contest. Can you provide some giveaways? And then we'll work with the coach in terms of what we think the proper giveaways will be, and we do provide giveaways for the members.
Some technical questions for you about the RFQ. One of the brokers of record said that they could charge a flat fee versus a percentage. What's your take on that? Would you be willing to accept a flat fee?
Well, Councilman, respectfully, no, our services speak for themselves. Since we've been your brokers, we've saved the municipality nearly $3 million. And the carrier negotiations, the union negotiations, the prescription drug changes, the implementation of the wellness program, our in-house service department, it justifies our costs. And I don't know the qualifications or what these other brokers are offering you, but I know that we have been very successful with your municipality.
A lot of them were very similar in what they offered about the wellness program, the coaching, and listening to them at the mic here last week. But as far as your services are concerned, what separates you from the competition with the other brokers of record? What makes you different than the other presenters? Because as I mentioned, it becomes it sounds very similar after a while in the sense that, they do provide wellness, they do provide coaching, they do provide 800 numbers. What makes you different?
Right, thank you, Councilman, great question. What I can tell you this is that, again, as my brother previously stated, that we're a third-generation family firm. My grandfather, my father, now the sons, and every client to us means something. When we take on a client, we treat it like it's our own family. We treat our members like their own family. We're very hands-on. We have tremendous professionals. We only hire the best within the firm. But I will say this, obviously, as you previously stated, they all have 800 numbers. We have 800 numbers. But what I will say is that our knowledge on wellness and what it does to the plan in terms of cost changes and how to drive costs down, that's our expertise. There's only about 7 public entities in New Jersey that are doing this today. We do 6 of them. It's all because we put that program in place. We understand the difference between what our competitors offer as it pertains to wellness and cost containment versus what we're going to do. Great question, Council.
I just have 2 more questions. Do you receive a commission on the wellness program? Do you guys receive a commission?
No, Councilman.
Okay, good. And I don't know if this was asked earlier, did the township get any reimbursements on the early retiree reinsurance program? And if so, how much did we collect?
We addressed that with Councilman Karifi, Councilman.
And what was that? We didn't collect anything?
Five people.
We have 5, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying there was only 5 individuals that were eligible? Okay.
What makes one eligible for that? Like,
Different threshold of claims that could reach approximately 14,000.
And there were age requirements as well.
Right.
Okay. No more questions?
any more questions?
Brian, do you have a question?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all
Thank you.
Thank you all very
Appreciate
much.
your time. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
Take care.
Okay, ordinances for second readings and public hearings. Any questions or concerns? Okay, status of adopted ordinance.
If I may, it's not on any particular ordinance, but I see the one about parking. And remember, we had the issue about parking on Twin Oaks?
Yes.
Okay. And I felt that it was a school board issue, get the buses out of Parsippany High School and let the kids park. There are I didn't poll all the school board members, but a number of them are interested in pursuing that. And even if they don't, they can eliminate all the buses from that lot. Maybe if they can eliminate half of them and move them over to the school board building, you add half of those buses plus the bus drivers' parking spaces, they could give us another 20, 30 spaces in the school. So it's being addressed by the school board. Some of the new school board members are interested in pursuing that also.
It's a good idea, Mike. The only question I have, isn't that area restricted for teachers? I don't think students are allowed to park on that side.
Well, the issue is with the juniors.
Okay, no, I understand that, but one side is not for students. Even if you move the buses.
Where you see all those buses lined up now, okay? And if they move those over to the school board, those spaces become available to the students.
I do not think they could park on that side whatsoever. I think they keep it.
Well, what they keep, okay, those are administrative rules that can be changed. That's what I'm trying to change.
Okay.
I'm trying to make those spaces available to the kids.
No, I have it. I don't believe they're going to open to the kids.
Well, that's the push.
Okay.
That's the push, because, it's a shame. Some of these kids are getting parking tickets, some of their cars are getting towed. The residents, and they have a reason to be upset, the residents are up in arms over there, and they're yelling at the kids. But they have a problem. I admit, those parents have a problem. Because if someone parks right across the street from their driveway, and someone parks near their driveway on their side of the street, okay, then they have trouble getting out of their driveway. I mean, it's a legitimate concern and complaint that needs to be addressed. But if you look at the end of the school year, according to the police reports, okay, by the end of the school year, when the juniors, a lot of the juniors now get their licenses and some of them get cars, you're talking about a total of 30 to 35 cars at the end of the school year, total. That could be, if you get rid of those 17 buses and the 17 bus driver spaces, that's 34 spaces. Even if they get rid of half of them, that will significantly reduce the problem on Twin Oaks without no parking. And I stress to them that this should be done before the snow falls, because the snow removal and emergency vehicles getting on those streets is a problem too, once we have snow. So I urge them to get it done before, we start getting snow and snow problems. I just wanted to give you an update.
Thank you. Okay, status of adopted ordinances, none. Discussions, reminders?
I'd like to say a couple of things.
Okay.
One thing that I just wanted to, make everybody aware of is that November is National Diabetes Awareness Month. I know a few moments ago we were talking about the wellness program, but it's the wellness for all of our taxpayers and our residents. And I just want to read you a small blurb because it could hit home for a lot of people. Diabetes is one of the leading causes of disability and death in the United States. It's not controlled. Diabetes can cause blindness, nerve damage, kidney disease, and other health problems. 1 in 12 Americans has diabetes, and more than 25 million and another 79 million adults in the U.S. are at high risk of type 2 diabetes. The good news is that if it's treated, it could be resolved. I just wanted to share with you a website, usa.gov. They do have information on there about diabetes, and the reminder is about the ABCs. A is for blood test, B is for blood pressure, C is for cholesterol. And monitoring these on a regular basis with your doctor could prevent you from having a serious problem or your loved one as well. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's an important reminder about the safety and security of our taxpayers. The other thing I wanted to share with you is some good news. I was speaking with our administrator, Mrs. Sandman, earlier about this, and I want to bring it to everybody's attention, is that there's 433 flood insurance policies in effect in Parsippany, and about $686,352 is spent in premiums. If we enroll in a community rating system, it could drop the rating that we have in town from a 10 to an 8, and your residents could save 10%, almost $68,000. In premiums. It's not direct savings to us as a township, but it's a direct savings to our residents. So I shared that with our administration today, and we're going to be looking into that. There's no guarantee, but it's something to look into. And I'm happy to report that a lot of these things come into play because of people that share things with us. As residents, if you have anything you'd like to share with us or investigate, we encourage you to do so. One of the gentlemen here today, Nick Horniak, brought to my attention that there could be some savings, so I did some homework on it. And, if it could help our taxpayers, we appreciate it. So thank you.
Hey, just Council President, in regards to the Ms. Sandman, in regards to ordinance 2014:33, I just want to make sure we made adjustments as to some of those issues that we had in regards to those payouts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So we don't have it coming back haunting us at all? Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. Okay, scheduled meetings, November 25th, 2014, 7:30 PM, regular meeting. December 9th, 2014, 7:30 PM, agenda meeting. Minutes for approval, January 14th, 2014, regular meeting. January 14th, 2014, closed session meeting. Administration bids taken, none to be taken. What's it?
Can I speak prior to the administration?
Go ahead.
I'd like to share something with the council, and it had to do with the October 21st, 2014 presentation with the insurance brokers. When I left that meeting, a lot of things were said by Franklin and Company, and I've conducted research, and I would like to share with the council, because regarding political contributions, at the October 21st, 2014 council meeting, Eric Lebaska of Franklin Company stated, and I quote, "I don't do donations. and that's timestamp 49 minutes and 24 seconds of the CD. Franklin Company has been a broker of record for the city of Bayonne since at least October 10, 2012. And I'm going to give this to you guys later on, and I'll give you this as well later. And you'll see in Exhibit A, a New Jersey Election Enforcement Commission report to Mr. Labaska and his company, Franklin Company, and that's Exhibit B. And those reports state Mr. Labaska personally contributed $1,000 to the Bayonne Democratic Organization on May 23, 2013. And Mr. Labaska's firm, Franklin Company, contributed $26,000 to then Mayor Mark Smith and the Bayonne Democratic Organization. I do not have a philosophical objection to Mr. Labaska or his firm exercising the First Amendment right to contribute to the Bayonne mayor and his Democratic organization, whether with a broker of record for the city. But I do object to Mr. Labaska misleading and misrepresenting himself and his firm in a public forum, providing information which can easily be confirmed or refuted with a simple search of the public record about his and his firm's political donations. Then I asked Mr. Labaska about Joe Bajica, directly about his association with the insurance broker Joseph Bajica, excuse me, I repeated myself, who was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison for failing to pay taxes and making illegal donations to political campaigns, and that will be in Exhibit C. Mr. Labaska led this council to believe his company's relationship with Mr. Bajica was minimal. He told this council that this company was only hired in a consulting and support role for Mr. Bajica, and that's timestamp 47 minutes of the DVD or CD.
So, Mayor, just a quick question, I wasn't paying attention. The one broker who went up there and gave a presentation, he
He said he did not do donations.
Oh, but...
And the reason why I'm bringing that
But
up,
did somebody do time in prison, you said, or?
yeah, that's another guy.
Okay, but it wasn't the presenter, was it?
No.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
No, that's a good
I was
question.
getting kind of confused.
No,
on
I
that.
asked him about this gentleman.
Oh, okay.
That's what I asked him.
Was there any
I was
other,
getting confused on that.
And I'll finish, I got, in fact, he made us believe that his company's relationship with Mr. Bajiga was a rumor started by Brown and Brown, and that's on the tape.
Yeah, I don't.
And in my New Jersey Election Enforcement Commission report, you'll see that Mr. Bajiga is listed as the executive management for Franklin Company, Inc. And furthermore, I have an article from the Bergen Record quoting Franklin Company officials attesting to the fact that Mr. Bajiga has a producer agreement with Franklin Company. He just wasn't a consultant. In addition, regarding Franklin Company's client, the city of Jersey City, Franklin's president is quoted as saying, Mr. Bajica was a guy in Jersey City day in and day out. And you'll see that in Exhibit E. Mr. Labaska claimed he saved Jersey City $5 million in early retirement reimbursements, but he did say. Louis, you're looking at me.
I'm like, these names are confusing me.
And I'm just raising the question. I don't mean it. I'm just raising the question. What involvement in Jersey City did Mr. Labaska really have if he wasn't the day-to-day guy in Jersey City? And while we were discussing early retirements, and it'll be in Exhibit E, F, you'll have that early retirement from the Department of Health and Human Services that lists out all early retirement reimbursements awarded, including 20 New Jersey public entities that received reimbursements. I only saw 3 public sector Franklin Company clients, and according to the Bergen Record, 2 of those clients, Jersey City and Passaic Valley Sewage Commission, and once again, I'm just, because it was just what I'm reading, was submitted, were Joe Bajica's clients. Now, we're talking about commission. Franklin Company, Mr. Labaska stated that everyone is moving towards a flat fee. Yet Franklin Company received commission for the city of Bayonne and the city of Jersey City. I emailed Mayor Fulop of Jersey City, and they are not a flat fee. They were based on commission. And I'm only saying that because Mr. Labaska said everybody's moving towards a flat fee. Brown and Brown stated that they would provide insurance service for $135,000 for 3 years. First of all, our RFQ was for 1 year of service, so I don't know why they're trying to lock us into 3 years. And Brown does not appear to have any issues accepting commission from clients. They recorded, and I have that in Exhibit G, for Mr. Antonio Tavares of Brown at a Union County freeholder meeting, and I have a link to the website of the recording if anyone wants to review it. At 5 minutes and 6 seconds of the recording, he clearly states that the brokers are commissioned by insurance carriers and that Brown & Brown currently receives 1.3% from Union County. Mr. Tavares further states that the standard commission for this account is 2.5% and that Brown & Brown is conducting business at 1.3%. In addition, I have serious concerns regarding Brown & Brown's seemingly arbitrary pricing method. As I stated below, Brown & Brown currently makes 1.3% commission, not from the town, but from the broker, from the carrier. In the county of Morris, our county, Brown & Brown currently provides their service for a flat fee of $75,000 a year. The county of Morris has approximately 3,000 employees on their program, and that will be in Exhibit H. We have approximately 550 on our program, about one-fifth the number of employees. Yet, Brown & Brown wants to charge us $135,000 flat fee, which is over 80% of what they're charging the county. Ladies and gentlemen, this was an RFQ based upon service, not upon price. Price is to be negotiated between the broker and the township third-party administrator. If this was an RFP, I would extremely be concerned about how Brown & Brown prices their services for public entities.
Mayor, I got a quick question for you.
Go ahead.
There was a total of 4 RFQs?
Yeah,
Okay, so I know Fairview just gave the presentation.
Right.
And then you had some questions and concerns about those other 2.
right.
So there was one other one that was left over. You
Well,
didn't
IMAC
make any mention about that individual.
Yeah, and I'm not going to because IMAC, when I didn't think they were nowhere as qualified as Fairview, and there was nothing that I felt that they misled us.
So there's no write-up on them, though, in regards
No,
to...
because I didn't feel they misled.
Okay,
That's
okay.
really it.
All right.
I have some questions.
And wait, listen to me finish if I may.
Go ahead.
I assembled a committee to review all proposals. The BA, purchasing agent, CFO, and utility director were out on the committee. They reviewed all proposals, they ranked and graded each proposal, and they recommended Fairview. And Fairview has served our community since 2006 under former Mayor Luther. And as you heard tonight, since they've been our broker, they've saved us over an aggregate amount of $3 million. I have a former CFO of Morristown, right next to us here, Ann Gucci, who has worked with Fairview and other brokers and stated unequivocally that Fairview service is head and shoulders above their competition. Basically, gentlemen, all I'm asking you, I know you're going to come here next week to make a decision, but I ask the council to do the responsible thing, to do the right thing, and choose Fairview, because they have served this town, and I wasn't a mayor when they first came on. They have served this town, they're committed to this town, they're committed to the people, they're committed to our workers, and they have done such an outstanding job. And, you know, they make some great points during union negotiations and contract negotiations. I worked hand in hand with them, and they did such a wonderful job with that. And, you know, doing contract negotiations now at a 2% cap, and you know, Councilman Malloy, how difficult it can be.
Very difficult.
They are, when I tell you, above and beyond what I've ever could have imagined. So I'm just asking you to look in, you know, you heard their presentation tonight, and I thought, you know, and you, like you said, and I'm glad you were fair about it, Councilman Malloy. You did say we had 2 weeks to gear up.
No, I wish they would have been here initially, but the reality is, you know, I asked them questions, and I'm going to go back and
Right.
do some more research. And, you know, in regards to the...
And I'll give you guys this.
Yeah, because I'll do some research on that. And again, I will just let you know, I will make a fair decision based on what I think is good for the town. So, again, at the end of the day, don't take anything personal in
don't take it
regards to our
personal.
decision, either for them or not for them. But I just want to be fair to all 4 of the RFQs that...
I'm just saying, you know, okay.
And I understand you're passionate about it, so...
And Mayor, just so that there's clarification here, under this form of government, it's not a choice between the entities that presented. Under this form of government, only the mayor has the power to make the appointment. The mayor's appointment is Fairview. So none of the other companies that presented at the invitation of the council are up for consideration in any way, shape, or form. They are not considered, they're not eligible to be considered. The mayor has made his appointment, which is Fairview, and so the vote is only on them.
All right, so the question I have for you, John, is that we're going to do our due diligence and do some research like the mayor had indicated. We obviously presented them with some questions and concerns. I took notes on that. But hypothetically, if it was Brown and Brown that the mayor had picked, I'm not saying Fairview, and we decided to say no on the vote, and obviously it was overwhelmingly no from the council, so then what is the next step so the public is understandable as to how our Faulkner Act form of government works?
Well,
Because we're the legislative body, we pass the budget, obviously on your contract, obviously on whatever comes in front of the council. We are the body of government that has to approve a budget. So, my point of the matter is, so we don't take anything personal here. If the mayor presents a particular individual to the council, and we as an independent body of government, we're own individuals here, we decide that, hey, 4-5 vote, we're not pleased with what you're presenting. Tell the public or the rest of the council members, what is the next process then?
well, first of all, it has nothing to do with the budget because you're not paying Fairview Insurance out of the budget. Fairview
But
Insurance
you
is
still-
paid
Yes.
from the third-party administrator. So Fairview Insurance does not receive a check for brokerage services from the township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, so it's not a budget issue. Again, in your form of government, only the mayor has the power to appoint
Okay.
the broker.
So if this appointment fails, what happens then?
Well,
That's the answer that I want to hear.
one of two things. We have received a letter from Fairview's lawyer back in April expressing the opinion that Fairview would be a holdover vendor in that instance.
And that was in April, you're saying?
Correct.
Is there any reason why the council didn't see this letter?
I think that I made public reference to the letter.
Never
back
saw the
in-
letter, never remember the
Well,
public reference?
I don't send copies of every letter
So
that I
let's go
get
to
to
the
the council.
hypothetical.
But I'm
What's
trying
the
to answer
outcome?
I'm trying to answer your
Okay,
question.
come on, because you're dilly-dallying around. Just tell us, what is the process?
Councilman, with all due respect, I'm not dilly-dallying around. There
Well,
is no process. The
I'm concerned
process
about
is,
the letter that we didn't receive or see in April. Now, I'm taking that personal. I did not hear anything about this letter from an attorney in April.
the process
So what's the
is,
process?
the process is very simple. The mayor makes an appointment,
He makes an
and
appointment.
the council
goes to the
votes
council.
yes or no. There is no other process,
Okay.
to answer your question directly.
So if it's yes, it's approved. If it's no, what is the answer then? What is the
Well,
next step?
as I started to explain to you, there is no next step. The question then becomes, what is the status of your ability to have a broker of record? And what I started to explain before you interrupted me is that there are two schools of thought. One is that Fairview would be a holdover, as referenced in the letter that I just described, and I'm most confident have referenced before.
That we didn't see. Okay. All right, the letter.
What's the other option?
What's the other option?
It's not an option. The other school of thought is that the township may be left without a broker of record. The consequence of that to the township could potentially be catastrophic. Number one, you have obligations under your union contracts to provide a certain level of service. And in order to do that, and in order to cap the township's exposure to provide those services, your broker of record has to go out into the marketplace to purchase excess coverage. If you don't have a broker of record, you have no way of buying the excess coverage, and so that, you've asked a question, I'm trying to answer it.
Go on. But
No, I have a question.
Go on.
If you don't want me to answer the question, I won't answer the
So,
question.
Not after the April letter,
wait,
I
I
lost
have a
all
question. So,
faith in you.
Mr. Inglesino, though,
Yeah,
what you just stated, though, wouldn't it be the responsibility of the administration to give the council another name, another company for
There's
us to
4 brokers
vote on?
that applied.
So that the employees would not be? Isn't it the administration's responsibility if the council were to vote no?
No, the mayor's responsibility is to do his due diligence and to make an appointment.
And
The
John,
mayor has fulfilled that responsibility not only by making appointment, but by having a public procurement process, by assembling a committee of people in administration comprised of the business administrator, the CFO, and the purchasing agent, who evaluated each of the proposals
Okay.
according to a point system and made a
Listen to the mayor.
recommendation.
Now, hold on, time out. Mayor, with all due respect, I don't want to get your blood pressure up. You told us it was improving.
I know how to control it
right?
now.
Control it, right?
Right.
Listen, we have been talking about this particular, not broker of record, right? We've been talking about this insurance program, right, broker, since the budget. We discussed it many times over and over. And what I find appalling, and I'm telling you, Jamie, from the heart here, this letter that was presented, that we received or we discussed, I don't know where anybody was when this was discussed, because I would have felt very concerned about knowing more about that. So I find it very, how can I say it, untruthful that we receive this, okay? So at the end of the day, now it's at dark hour, just like when I sat in the audience when I wasn't a councilman, when this particular broker was presented at the last minute, and then all the union members showed up, and the theatrics of they weren't going to have insurance. But again, I don't even know who the other brokers were to pick from. We just missed 2 transparency committee meetings because we couldn't all coordinate. We had people show up today. And this is why we need to be transparent. So we're not going to be sitting up here in front of the public fighting over a broker now. Now, again, you are going to give us information to review those other brokers, okay? So what if we did our due diligence and we wanted to find something out about Ryan & Brown that we really liked? And we were under the pretense now that we could vote for who we want. Okay, now we're being told that in April we receive this, either in our packet or we discuss it, which I did not receive. And I don't believe any other council members, because I don't see anybody else piping up here about that. We can't do business this way. It looks terrible to the public.
First and foremost, Councilman,
It looks terrible.
and you have a decision to make on November 25th.
And it's, it's a shame, it's towards the end of the year. We're making a decision again.
Well, that's, I think, our next
I'm
council.
sure all the union people will be sitting in here that they're not going to have
And
insurance.
I put them up, and you guys wanted to have a interview. I put them up prior. You wanted to have an interview with every other broker. You did that, and so now I'm putting them up on November 25th.
Okay, I have some
Fine,
basic,
put 'em up.
wait, but Mr. Inglesino, so basically what you just told us was, if the council was to vote no for something, our vote doesn't really mean anything anyway, because we would vote no, and then the person would just be a holdover.
No,
So our vote-
I didn't say that.
Okay, but
I did not say that, Council President.
You
That's
say
not
that
a,
they're
that's
not
not an.
having insurance.
No, that's not an accurate representation of my view.
Your view
And I
is
was,
distorted.
and
wait a
I
minute,
was
wait a
not
minute.
able
That's
to
what your
finish
view is.
expressing
Wait,
my
hold on.
view. So if you're not interested in it, then I won't express it. If you are interested, I
Go
will
ahead.
Well,
express
here's
it.
what I want
No,
for
wait,
record,
no,
Council
wait, I
President,
want-
real quickly. I want to see this April letter by tomorrow that was presented. Where was it on audio, video here where we discussed it? I really.
The April letter, Councilman Valori, has absolutely no relevance to your vote. It has no relevance to your
You
vote
just said before it
whatsoever.
didn't have relevance to their vote.
It,
You're basing your decision based on that letter from an attorney.
I haven't
Okay.
been able, I haven't been afforded the opportunity to express my full view.
Okay.
And if you're not interested in it, I won't. If you are interested in it, I will. It's up to you.
The reality is this: if we're going to be honest and transparent, we will not sit here and have to debate this. But I did not get elected to just let someone decide what they're going to do. And if I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to live by my decision. I'm going to vote on it. And you're not going to tell me that I heard something or something was interpreted in April when I didn't receive anything.
Okay, Mr. Inglesino, getting back to my question though, where if the council were to vote no, I think you stated that, well, he would either be a holdover or we would be putting the employee's insurance
Yeah,
at risk. But wouldn't it be the responsibility of the administration to submit after that another company to the council to vote on that one so that that wouldn't endanger our employees'
No,
insurance?
there's no obligation. Again, the mayor's responsibility is to make an appointment. And the mayor has done that. There is no legal requirement for the mayor to make appoint another vendor if you reject the vendor that he proposes.
Okay, so why do we even vote on it then? Because if we voted no, everything stays the same anyway then.
Well, again, I have not had the opportunity to express my view on that. I did not say that.
No,
It's
go ahead
not-
then.
Okay. The answer is that it's not 100% clear what the status of the broker of record is at that point. And there are a couple of different arguments in that regard. One argument would be that they would be a holdover. That view was expressed by an attorney for Fairview. I believe the letter was in April. I don't recall when, but I know, Council President, you and I at least had a conversation about that.
Did you have this conversation?
The second view is that you could potentially be left without a broker of record by virtue of them not having the authority, the requisite authority of the governing body to procure insurance. And if that were the case, then, the risks are significant to the township. Number one, they would not, if they don't have the authority to go out and procure insurance for you in the marketplace, you would not be able to get the excess coverage that you need to cap the exposure of the taxpayers in a self-insurance program when the town has the obligation to pay those benefits. That is a very, very significant financial exposure that the town would be left with. Number two, you have an obligation to provide benefits under your labor union contract, which the township doesn't have the ability to administrate or provide, and the township doesn't have the ability in-house to even begin to put the requirements together to go out into the marketplace for insurance. You would also lose the ability to negotiate claims on behalf of your employees. So you would be in clear default under your labor union contracts, and you would be exposing the taxpayers to unquantifiable risks.
Okay.
With regard to
No, hold on.
exposure. So that,
Okay.
I mean, yes, that's the consequence of not having a broker.
Right, but if the mayor, let's just hypothetical, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just say the five council members voted no.
That's not good.
Now, okay, Mike.
We know
well,
that's not coming from you, Mike.
Okay,
We know what
whatever.
you're tainted.
But
business
anyway,
get-go.
but anyway,
Make a comment, but-
what I'm saying is, okay, the five of us. So
You guys are amazing.
to avoid what you just said
we're not
potentially
amazing.
happening is if the mayor gave us another company, and let's just say the five of us voted yes to that company, none of that would happen, correct?
I mean, look, whether you vote yes to the mayor's appointment or the mayor gives you another appointment, you can phrase the question however you want. The reality is that it is not appropriate for the council to be negotiating contracts or to participate in the negotiation process. And that principle of law is set very clearly set forth in the Sharp James case, which is a New Jersey
totally
State
agree with
Supreme
that.
Court
What's the sense
case.
of us voting?
Your role here is to consider who the mayor
Okay.
appoints. Your role is not
Okay,
to dictate who the appointment
I-
is. That is not
Wait,
your
yes.
role in this
Well,
form of government.
There were four companies that submitted. We're not saying pick this one. I'm just saying is if the five of us, just to say five of us voted no, and then he comes up with another company, we're not telling him which company to come up with. I'm just saying is if he came
Well,
up
if
with
you don't
another
vote for- if you don't
company,
vote for Fairview, that's exactly what you're
and
doing.
No, time out for a
then
second.
and that one was submitted to the council. So basically, you're telling us even if it was a 5-0 vote, it really doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so let's just hypothetically.
I'm not telling you that.
Jamie,
Telling you that you run the risk
we're gonna.
you run the risk
Just a
that you will not have a broker of
As I
record.
No,
recall,
I'm talking right now to the mayor.
well, you've
Mayor,
been
you
talking
gave
for the
us
last half
information
hour.
on Brown and Brown. You know what, Mike? I come here to the council meetings to make the public aware where our taxpayers' dollars are being spent.
I appreciate that,
And
Lou, but give me a minute.
unfortunately- No,
You've
no,
been
let
running
me
off
get done
for
and
a
finish
half
with the
hour.
mayor, and then you could ask, okay? Mayor, this is a question for you. Brown and Brown, you gave us a great detail on what they did wrong in the past in Franklin and Franklin. So hypothetically, you didn't do your homework, whoever did the homework for you on that, okay? We decided that we did the homework. You present Brown and Brown to us, okay? You present Brown and Brown, but now we know in our due diligence that we're not happy with Brown and Brown's, obviously, performance, okay? So now you already wrote them the letter, per se, hypothetically, saying that you want them. And we're telling you, no, we are not happy with their performance based on their past actions in Jersey City, Hoboken, wherever the case may be. So now the good attorney who defends you on everything says to us, okay, you put it to vote, and we vote no. So now we're hearing hypothetically, obviously, the town is at risk. So now we're the bad guys because we did our due diligence on this particular broker. So I'm doing my homework on Fairview now, and there's some things that I'm not pleased with. So right now, you are sticking to your guns, telling us that we have to stick with this particular broker, say Brown and Brown. So are you willing to risk the township employees, obviously, having no insurance? Because you still have three other choices.
Council, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to put up the best broker, and that's what I've done. I put up the best broker. I put up Fairview Insurance. You've had opportunities to vote. Now make your decision on November 25th.
Fine.
That's who I'm putting up. Fairview Insurance. They're by far above, they're the better broker than all four of them.
And that was
All
your
three of them,
opinion?
excuse me.
Okay? Fine. So, John, the question I have for you, if the vote comes to no, what is the next option then? What does the mayor do next?
Well,
Hypothetically, if it goes to, obviously, a no vote.
Seems that's where it's going.
well, then you, at that point, have put the township at risk.
We put the
As to-
township at risk, then why are we
Well,
getting voted on?
Because your role is not to choose the broker.
But
Your
John,
role
if
is,
there's a role,
you're not the
coming to us
appointing
in front-
authority.
Then why is there a yes or no vote? Why are we voting on it then? I mean, we're in America. This is democracy. The mayor is presenting a broker to us. We're doing our homework on all four brokers. We live in America. We have a choice. So it's either yes or no. So if hypothetically, I know you guys don't like to hear that word, it's a no vote. What is the next step then? So this is a layman's terms to the public, so nobody's surprised about
Sure.
anything.
The next step is that the mayor, the mayor has fulfilled his responsibility at
And
that
so
point.
has the council fulfilled their responsibility then?
Well, the
So then
council.
what's the next spot
well,
then?
Then at that point, you will have left the town with
No, we haven't left the town.
either.
Yes, you have.
with either.
You can't make this up, gentlemen. You cannot
You
make
can't.
this up.
Well,
It comes in
all
front
my
of the
years as
council.
mayor, I've never seen it like
comes in
this.
front of the council.
You're absolutely
We
correct.
make our independent decisions because, you know why? We live in America. We're not going to be obviously told who we have to vote for. And this is why we have these problems in this town, because we're so untransparent. We're not transparent
Actually,
at
Mr.
all.
Valori,
How we not
you do in this for.
The April letter with the John Inglesino syndrome as usual. There's a letter here,
Here
a
we
letter
go.
that we didn't even
Councilman
see or
Voigt, here you go
presented.
again.
The John Inglesino syndrome on his letters or his due diligence. Let's go to the next option here. This is a mockery of the system here.
Mr.
Yeah,
Valori,
you're making a
system
mockery
is
of
that
it,
you're
Councilman.
only able.
John
to
Inglesino, the problem I have with you is
council
I don't know
president can't
what
even
to
control his own
believe
meeting.
or not
Mayor,
to
I
believe
can
with
control
you.
the meeting.
See, you're not.
Okay?
Yeah?
That's the
Okay.
problem I have with you. I don't know what to believe or
Test
not.
me like you did last
You're
week.
telling me an April letter,
meeting.
which I find, why are we going through this whole battle drill of me doing my research, asking Fairview questions? The mayor all of a sudden comes up with a pack of information that he found on corruption with these individuals. So, I mean, this is so sleazy the way we're doing things.
You know what's funny, Councilman? It's amazing how you make comments like that someone did it for me. I think someone did it for you. Did
Mayor,
your
listen,
research.
I'll tell you something.
I
I
mean,
have
you're
a
the one
doctorate
that
degree.
said it. I mean,
do you have your degree?
I could care
All
less.
right,
about
Mayor,
All right.
let's go
Mr.
tit for tat.
Okay, all
It
right.
was paid for by the town,
All right,
but
Mr. DePiero, did you have something you wanted to say?
well, it has an account. You
Mr.
got to be
DePiero?
kidding me.
Did you have
If that's
something you
the
wanted to
that's
say?
what you can.
Mr. DePiero, did you have something that you wanted to say?
No, it's gonna fall on deaf ears.
Okay, all right, we're going to move
All right,
on.
you got to get.
We're going to move on from here.
I know. I'm sorry, ladies.
Or nothing to be sorry about. They should know the truth of
Okay,
what's going on.
Go ahead.
I have
Go
something
ahead.
to say before we move on. I have not made my decision yet, so I'm reviewing everything, I'm asking questions, and I will make my own decision independently of everyone. So, one of the questions that I had was the packet that the mayor, spent some time putting together, and I appreciate that, Mayor. But is there any studies that was done on the flat fee versus a commission?
First and foremost, you've been told us they negotiate with the carrier. That's how it works right here. I haven't discussed it with them yet because this was an RFQ. It was not an RFP. An RFQ was request for services and most qualified. And that's exactly what we put out. That's what we put out all the time. Since before I was mayor, RFQs have gone out. And that's that's how I'm picking. Bet that is the most qualified for the town, and Fairview Insurance is the most qualified. This is not an RFP.
And I would say it's the same RFQ that has been used for a number of years that Jasmine had developed, so it's...
No, I understand that, but that's not my point. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm trying
I'm just telling you
to
what
look at
I'm
this.
choosing based on who I feel is, and I have, the most qualified for the township. They've been in the community of Township Parsippany-Troy since 2006. They've done an excellent job. And, you know, you're gonna have to make a decision, and I'm glad you even said you're looking through everything and you're gonna make what you feel is best.
Yeah, and I
But-
did say the last meeting that, you know, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, you know, and, you know, I'm gonna review everything that you gave me here as well, but, you know, I'm missing two pieces here, and I just wanted to see if there was any research done on the same thing as far as, was there any political donations given, or any friends or family, or working for,
You
the
can go
last
to
two
the New Jersey
companies?
election report like I did, and you can find out if they have, if anybody
I mean,
has.
they did such a nice package here, I thought you'd do the whole thing, you know? But, you know, it fell apart, though, I opened it up, and
I know, it fell apart on me too, putting them together.
Hey, notebook.
All right.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other questions? Okay. Bids to be taken, none,
You know what?
or
Yes.
taken, none, to be taken. Go ahead.
Yeah, I need to address one, and then Paula needs to address something that's actually not on here, but would be under this to be considered. As you can see, this would be a sealed proposals for this Interpace Parkway improvement. I just wanted to bring to the attention of the mayor and council that, based on a conversation that I had both with the engineer and with our purchasing agent, Mike, we are taking bids, sealed bids on the 19th, which was not in time for this meeting, which is on the 12th. I would ask the council to entertain that at the meeting of the 25th, that they consider approving this. And the reason is twofold. One, we don't want to jeopardize grant funding, and two, the commitment made by both Mike Hardy and Justin Lisa, saying that they will have reviewed the documentation in fine fashion on the 19th, and you will receive the recommendation by Friday, the 21st, so you'll have time to review it prior to the meeting. But the issue is just the timing. We, you know, by the time the bids were put into, it's a very large project.
So what you're
and-
really asking, Ellen, is to put this on the agenda for vote for the 25th?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
And if you find something's wrong, you'll pull it from
Absolutely.
at that time?
But what we're saying is, the bids, in all due respect, had to be out for a certain amount of time.
Understood.
And it didn't get to be finalized by the 12th, so we're asking for that consideration with the obligation on the part of both our purchasing agent and our engineer to do a thorough review, and of course, you know, review by council as far as all the documentation is there for an award, and that documentation will be in your hands by Friday so that you can have time to review it over the weekend.
Okay.
That's what I'm requesting. And I think Paula has
Sure.
another question as, an issue as regarding the FMGD plant, correct?
Yes, that would be, the F is for 4. What it is the township went up for an RFP for the construction and design, actually the design of the Form GD plant. The Form GD plant is essential to processing the wastewaters from our fog operation. The township just signed a lease with our, with AP Construction, who is the managing operator. Actually, the operator is Lanton Environmental of our fog operation, and part of that agreement is the township is going to process wastewater, but the Form GD plant specifically is going to do that, among other things, as in processing trucked-in waste, other leachate, sludge. So this is a project that has been in the works for 3 years, and I'm very pleased to say that the RFP went out, and they are due back on November 17th. And due to the timing of it, I'm going to respectfully request that you consider that award at next meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, ordinances, any questions or concerns? Discussion, food trucks, non-commercial solicitation.
Yeah, I'll add some information for discussion.
Okay.
Mrs. Sandman provided us with some information on the ordinance for the food trucks, and also I provided our codes as well. I reviewed 296-1 for the Parsippany Township, also looking at the vendors and listening to some of the complaints we had from the taxpayers. So I'm working on that currently. I've also asked Mr. Valori if he can get to a meeting date with us, with the attorney, so we can draft a viable piece that would protect our taxpayers and keep our environment clean.
All right.
Right, I believe
Thank
there's
you.
also some administrative folks on that with you, Rob, so
Yeah, there is.
just if we can coordinate. I know it's difficult to, pull some time together,
It's
but.
been tough with
yeah,
schedules, with everybody
right.
coordinating at the same time. So
But,
I started doing the homework on it to begin with, and
Yes.
thank you, Ellen, for
Thank
doing
you.
your homework
All
as
right,
well.
very good, thank you. I think,
ready.
on your, I think if we're done with food trucks, I think, Yancy, you want to speak to, and I know there's some questions with regard to what this non-commercial solicitation document contains.
This is an issue we came across recently in the office. If you're aware, the clerk's office not so much issues a permit for non-solicitation, but we do issue licensing for solicitor's permits, for the commercial solicitation permits. In the past, what they used to do was if someone said a charitable organization were to come and ask what they had to do, we'd say that they would have to provide a contact list of people, things of that nature, just to know who they are and what they are. What we came across was that there's actually no written policy for charitable solicitation. There's nothing written in the ordinance. The only thing the ordinance says is they're exempt from any part of the commercial solicitation requirements, and that they just have to be out there between 9 a.m., 9 p.m., and to not to knock on people's doors that have a do not solicit sign on their door. In this day and age, it's a lot of people call our office and say, there's someone in my neighborhood knocking on my door. Who are they? What are they? We're not able to control that because we really don't have any requirements for them, anything in writing, no applications for them to fill out, nothing like that. In your packets, I provided you a copy of Denville's ordinance for non-commercial solicitation, if you want to take a look at that. If you want to form a subcommittee also to see what kind of policy direction you want to take. Our commercial solicitation ordinance is very strong. I don't want to say it's cumbersome, but it is. There's a lot in it. There's a lot of criminal background checks involved. We're not asking for that with this, just something simple. Fill out a form, prove to us that you're a legitimate charitable organization, give us a contact name, no fees required, just something so that if we got a resident calling and saying there's someone in my neighborhood, who are they, at least we can let them know who they are. So that's, if you can just please take a look at that and just provide us with guidance and feedback and maybe put an ordinance together, something similar to that.
I know, speaking to one of the councilmen prior to the meeting, one of the concerns was, what about solicitation with regard to, I guess it was election? Rob, did you have that concern, whether it was addressed in this?
Canvassing.
Canvassing?
I don't think that
That doesn't cover it.
There are exemptions, and
yeah.
if you look at Denville's ordinance, they exempted veterans organizations and firemen's organizations. So if you want to make any kinds of exemptions, usually I believe political campaigning is exempt under First
Yeah,
Amendment.
that's what I thought.
Right, so I think that's a little different issue.
Okay.
John,
Thank
maybe you could answer that question, is that?
Yeah,
Your first
there's,
time,
there's certainly different forms of speech have different levels of protection under the Constitution. Political speech is the most protected form of speech under the Constitution. And there will always be a tension in both allowing people to exercise their right to solicit and how that right can be exercised based upon the type of solicitation that's being conducted on the one hand versus being able to account for who's in the neighborhood and sort of public safety concerns on the other. And so I think the idea of putting together, some sort of an ordinance committee, which I know a lot of municipalities have, to vet these kinds of issues are really important, particularly for us in terms of drafting the ordinance. That would be a useful thing, and I think you're seeing a few items begin to mount that require, I think, an ordinance committee, and we've certainly had a number of items over the years that would have benefited from that in terms of being able to act on them more expeditiously.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. All right, resolutions. Any questions or concerns? Okay, I think we already discussed a matter that was tabled from the previous meeting.
One question I had on the resolution for a moment. The resolution for the change order number 1 for repainting the Lackawanna elevated water storage tank. I just want to ask the administration, I remember when I was in the audience as a non-elected official, there was a discussion about that, and I think it talked about the warranty on it because it was painted and then all of a sudden needed to be repainted and it deteriorated so quickly. Is there any warranty on the painting of the storage tanks that they'll guarantee it for X amount of time frame?
They don't last, right? They don't last, yeah.
You know what, I don't know that answer offhand. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay, because I just wanted to take that in consideration if any of the contracts are warranting their work, because I understand on the underbelly of one of them, it peeled dramatically.
It was looked into. It wasn't peeling. It was moss. Sometimes moss, there's condensation on the tank, so you will get a moss and it will give an appearance of a peeling. It was not peeling.
It was not.
It was moss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can just, get some information on
Sure,
that.
I could
because
certainly,
We're spending a lot of money on it. I just don't want to go back and spend more money on the towers because we have a few of them, so.
Nope.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay, Township Office Reports, Engineering Report. Mr. Stanton.
Okay, I'll turn over to Manor Lake Dam to our business administrator.
Brian does that because every time he starts with it, I say, can I just say one thing? But one of the things I'm pleased with is, in working with the engineer and making this report be a viable instrument for information for the public as well as the council and mayor, I wanted to make sure that there was the detailed information in here as to when we can expect some more movement in the finalization of this particular long-term project as it relates to the dam. And as the council can see, and those that have taken a copy of the agenda, that we're hoping that all submissions will be made to the NJDEP so we can move forward with this dam restoration, and that would be by December. So I just wanted to make sure people realize that again, there seems to be, what's the movement, and there is many Ts that have to be crossed and Is that have to be dotted, and again, I don't mean to belabor this, but it is true. Anybody who's worked in government and who has worked in government as long as I have, the DEP has its own timetable and schedule, and most times if they tell you a month, you always want to ask what year. So I'm hopeful that we're talking about 2014, but I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you for letting me talk to that.
Thank you.
And one other thing that Brian said, that because of the nature of it, but I would like to go on record, and that's an important thing for the public to realize. When I first came on board, one of the things you look at is monies that are still outstanding and that are due to come back into the municipality. And when Ann came on board as the finance officer, that's one of the things she certainly looked into. And as you know, we're in receipt of a $7 million, actually, FEMA hazard mitigation grant project. And during the time and during the scope of this, we went to review 17 properties that had to go through a process. And I'm pleased to say that the documentation has now been turned over to the state so that we will be getting the reimbursement in the amount of, and as the council can read as well, in the tune of, close to more than the $3 million of the monies that were put out. So I'm pleased to report that this evening, because that was a concern, because it was one of the ones where there was an ordinance to receive the money, but it was a fully funded ordinance, so therefore, any monies that we don't receive, that would be on us. We would not be able to go out to borrow money against that. But we're confident now that the documentation has been provided, and actually was picked up by the main agent of the state, so that we're well on our way to receiving this $3 million plus dollars. So I'm pleased to report that. Thanks, Brian, for letting me also say that. Turn it back to you.
Okay, no park in Vale Road. Office has received a request to place no parking zones on Vale Road to allow vehicles traveling west to safely navigate the curve near Lakeshore Drive without having to cross the double yellow center line to avoid vehicles parked along the curb. Police Department investigated the request, determined parking should be prohibited on north side of Vale Road from U Avenue to a point approximately 250 feet east of Lakeshore Drive intersection, and on the south side of Vale Road from U Avenue to Carlson Place. Ordinance must be adopted by the Township Council.
Put that on.
Yeah.
And on the last part, in deference to Councilman DePiero, he wanted to make sure that it was in the engineer's report, and that's Reynolds Avenue you had asked about, and this project is designed and will be bid in January. I know that was a concern.
Yeah, I appreciate it being on his agenda, but I was looking for, if the project is designed, does that mean it has received DEP approval? I mean, he could be a little more elaborate on what's going on here. As I recall, the last time it was rejected by at least that's what I heard from Pujilowski, was it was rejected because it didn't like the drainage proposal at this end of Reynolds Avenue. So my question is, the project is designed, does that mean it's met DEP approval? And I'd like to leave this on until actually we have a bid and a selection made.
Right.
And then I'd like to also, when we do the bid, I'd like to have some idea of projected completion date, because the residents down here have been asking for this for 15 years.
We will address that, and for the record, I was kind of happy that the report was as full as it was. It didn't just happen this way, Mike. The first 2 pages, actually, I got him to say a little bit more. When it got to this one, I guess he was tired. But
Okay.
but in all due respect, out of the people that are waiting for this information, I'm sure if he's saying it's going out to bid in January, he would not, as the engineer, because he's kind of very structured, that I'm going to think that they did get that, but I will definitely verify that they have DEP approval.
Okay, for the no parking on Vale Road, the council has to adopt an ordinance.
Entertain a motion to adopt an ordinance for
I'll make
that.
a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Stanton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Paluso. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Interspace Parkway bid. We have scheduled the bid opening for the Interspace Parkway Improvement Project for November 19th at 11 a.m. If the bid results are acceptable, we respectfully ask that the project be awarded at the November 25th council meeting in order to meet the NJDOT deadline. This project is partially funded by the NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant, must comply with the grant requirements in order to receive funding. Resolution be needed to be adopted.
Entertain a motion
I'll make a
to...
motion.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Stanton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Valori. All in favor? Aye, opposed?
Okay, all others, there's no council action required.
Thank you.
Question?
I just had a question. I know we skipped around a little bit on this. The no parking on Vale Road. I'm glad to see something like that, because I've had some concerns about vehicles crossing over double yellow lines, and particularly because of New Jersey Transit buses stopping at unauthorized bus stops. And we've seen that consistently now on Edwards Road and Vale Road, in which, and actually North Medbrook Road as well, which ties up traffic and also puts added traffic in the middle of the box, if you want to say, of Route 46 when you cross over from Medbrook South and North. So, I wanted to see if we can monitor those bus stops. I know there's usually a list of bus stops that are authorized by us.
Yes.
So I wanted to see if we can enforce that, because a lot of times it's backing up traffic, putting people in harm's way, but also crossing the double yellow lines, and you don't know if there's additional traffic coming the other way. So I'm glad to see that, because it sparked a thought that I want to
Okay,
express.
we
Thank you.
have that, and we'll not only work with the engineering department, but our traffic bureau in the police department.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Chief Financial Officer,
Thank you.
resolutions.
Yes, we have three. The annual audit for 2013 has come out. It was distributed to the council, I believe, on Friday. And you will be asked to certify the audit. What that means is simply that you reviewed the recommendations and comments at a minimum. But that won't be happening until the 11/25 meeting. It's just that you reviewed them, not that you comment on them, that you read it.
Right.
So that'll be what you'll certify, and that'll go down to Trenton. The next one will be the corrective action plan, which you will have before the meeting, of course, listing every one of those items that are on that page, and every one of the recommendations or comments, and of course, the corrective action plan we are taking to correct those things. Some of them already have been corrected that are not included in your report that you received. We already made some action on that. And the last resolution is one of the recommendations, fixing one of the recommendations, and that's a dedication by rider for workman's comp. All that means is that the revenues that we collect for workman's comp is distributed for workman's comp. It's a trust. But if for some reason it hasn't been set up, so will be in your package as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Attorney?
No report for open. I have a few items for closed session.
Okay, Township offices / committees?
I'd like to give a report on the committees that I serve on. Couple of committees. One is the historical. I have not received the official minutes from their last meetings, but I want to share some information with the council so they're aware of it. The historical committee has put together a letter that was sent to the State Historic Preservation Office. The referencing of Mount Tabor Historic District State and National Register nomination. Mount Tabor Historic District is to be listed on both the state and national registers of historic places. The letter was sent recommending it for historical. Okay, Mike? The other thing is, on historical, is Preserve Greystone has filed a notice of appeal for New Jersey's Appellate Division seeking review of the Department of Treasury's August 11, 2014 decision to award a contract for the demolition of the historic Kirkbride building. Also, on the other committee we're looking at, which is the Economic Development Committee, we have two people that are interested in joining the Economic Development Committee. We do have open positions by the mayor and council, and I'm going to share this with the clerk to distribute to the council, is the information I received from the two applicants for the Economic Development Committee. And the Economic Development Committee does want a meeting with the mayor and the president of the council in order to receive direction and some input as to what they're looking to accomplish in the administration and on the council. So if I could just pass this down to the clerk.
Is that it?
No. Additionally, we do have the Environmental Committee. We did have a meeting the other evening. The Environmental Committee has expressed the same concern, that they wanted to get input from the mayor and the president of the council and some direction. They want to be engaged, and they were asking for that meeting. I know the mayor was there the other day, in which we did discuss the engagement of the committee. The last thing I want to say in reference to committees is I'd like to make a recommendation to the council to reinstate the Shared Services Committee. Back in 2009, we had a Shared Services Committee, and we worked very closely with the Board of Education. And, one of the comments that came out of our Veterans Ceremony that we had the other day from one of the workers is that, we look forward to sharing, services with each other, and sometimes we borrow equipment. And I think that's very important, is that the school board works with the municipality to save our taxpayers money. And also, we work with neighboring communities for shared services as well. So, I'd like to make a recommendation that the council and the mayor look at shared services committee implementing again.
Just so you know, that the township is always looking to share services, and we've had many discussions with the school board on shared services, and it's no problem having the committee, but we do this with other towns as well. We do share services within the department. Sometimes I get some complaints where I can't use the machine because they're using the machine, that kind of stuff. But we do have dialogue with the school board, I'll say that. So if you do want to form a committee or have one committee member, that's fine.
One of the things that we used to have with shared services, I was on that committee as a resident and the president of the chamber at the time. We held it at the school board facilities, and we had probably about 40 people there that was on this committee. It was council and mayor appointees, but it was also the police department, it was also community organizations, and we talked about sharing, and at that time, we were able to share generators between two facilities, which was actually a not government facility. It was a business in town that was willing to let the township use the facility of the generator. So there is a lot of savings. So if we craft a good committee where we have public involvement, I think it will be important for us in the future. Thank you.
I just have two things for my committees that I'm the liaison for. Mayor, if I could ask you, with our traffic committee, some of our meetings, the officer that's in the traffic unit, he's unable to make our meetings,
Right.
and no one from the police department shows up. Is it possible that we
Oh, yeah,
can
I'll get somebody there. I didn't
have somebody, if
not a
he
problem.
can't make it? I mean, I'm sure something comes up. He does advise the
I know he gets the stuff
our
from them, but
our
it's nice to have
chairperson maybe we can have a replacement there, so this way we have a representative from the police department.
Yeah, I got it.
That's the first thing, and then the other thing is I received a phone call.
Council
and,
President, when are the meetings? You said
actually, we have one next Thursday night,
next Thursday, and
Yes.
what kind of a time is it?
7:30. It's at the
And
library.
It's at the library?
Yes.
Okay.
The police department they'll
Yeah,
know where they are.
Yeah, but I just like to know myself, so
Okay.
I.
And then the
that
second
happens.
is, I didn't get too much information, but I did receive a phone call on this, that the new CAD system that we approved in the budget, that our fire departments were not included in that?
Yeah, we're reviewing that now. I've been in concert with, conversation with the chief and.
Okay, because the firemen are telling me that the police department's telling them that they have to come up with the money to be included in that, and
Yeah,
Really?
I've had a dialogue with the chief, actually, too, and we need to address that.
Yeah, I think
because
because we need
And
them
I-
included in
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I would think, yeah, it would make sense,
Okay.
but,
so there is some dialogue
Oh,
going on with
absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, so I can
It's too
advise them of that.
Yes,
All right,
yeah.
great. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Well, I got it. Mayor, I just want to commend you, see, this is positive now, on the library parking lot, came out great. Ellen, I know that you were working with, obviously,
The lighting.
yes, the
and-
lighting.
and
So
again,
I know the folks on the library committee, they're very happy with the results, and I went through the parking lot. It looks great, and you guys did a great job. And since we have some of the Transparency Committee members here tonight, I just wasn't sure, do you guys have any dates in mind?
Well,
So they don't get
Well,
upset?
I have
with
no
me?
dates right now. What I'm going to do is I'll send several dates to you,
Okay,
and then the dates that, because not, other people just can't make Tuesday nights. And then sometimes they'll be able to make Tuesday nights.
okay.
Fact
So-
is, when we meet, we have to determine how many times we're gonna meet a year.
Oh, yeah, and once
all
we
that
have that
kind of
initial
stuff.
mean, so we're gonna
And-
have you, the BA and
The
CFO.
BA and
a lot of-
and the IT.
Perfect, okay,
Then the 5 or 4 members that I chose.
okay, that's
And-
perfect.
And that's it.
Do you think
So-
that we could shoot for something in
I'm
November
gonna-
with some
I'm gonna-
dates?
I'm gonna- Well, remember, next week we're at the league.
Yes,
After that, it's Thanksgiving.
okay,
So if you want to shoot for first week in December,
okay,
we can do that.
okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll pass that out too.
All right.
Okay,
sounds
thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things, thank you, Councilman Valori. I wanted to say, again, we work very well with JCP&L, and Addie Cologne met me out there with the librarian and Joe Janarone, and one of the things they said, and they've already started it, when there are light poles in the area, they have put stanchions of light to do that, and that's at no cost to the municipality and to the library. So I want to commend them for doing that, and they're not done yet with how much more lighting they'll be providing.
Oh, that's
at-
great.
At no additional cost, so.
And thank you for all your efforts, too.
Thank you.
Okay, communications, correspondence, none. Applications, any questions, concerns?
I have a question on the renewal of licenses. I see it's grouped together, the taxi, limos, tourist accommodations, and entertainment, and amusement games. Question for our clerk, is this reviewed by the police department for complaints prior to us receiving this?
For the tourist accommodations, I know that they do go through the police and fire prevention. They go through inspections, so we get a report from them that everything's okay.
Okay.
Same for the amusement games and the entertainment. Taxi limo, we go through. They are required to have criminal background checks prior to. They're not required with the renewal. The ordinance doesn't require it, just for the initial license when they first get their approval. That's the only time, if the council, that is something I wanted to bring up sometime eventually, was if you'd like to also include that in the renewals. That depends on the police
Yes.
department's availability. Truck terminals, I'm not sure about, I'll be honest.
Okay, yeah, because, I remember seeing in the newspapers some things happening in some of these places, and there was complaints and some arrests and different things.
With the liquor license.
Yeah, I also seen prostitution at certain facilities as well. There's been arrests. So, I want to make sure that if we're approving something, that we're not condoning some
I think it's just
negative things in our
for,
community.
they just have to pay a fee for the number of rooms that they have, and honestly, just our Fire Prevention Bureau just make sure there's no issue with safety in that end. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Does
is
the
that
police
you're
department
charging-
look at arrest records and
I'm not sure if they do
repeat
that.
crimes?
I'm not sure what they look at.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Please, when you come up, state your name and address and sign in. You'll be given 5 minutes.
It's okay, Beverly.
You can take it
just
off.
hold
You can
on.
take it out of
Take
there.
it off, yeah.
You can see my height. Gentlemen, I bought my house in the late 60s.
Ma'am, please state your name and address,
I
please.
am coming here.
Ma'am, please state your name and address.
Oh, I'm Beverly Casper, 36 Normandy Drive, Parsippany.
Thank you.
I bought my house in Normandy Village in the late 60s. And I have been shoveling that oh, by the way, I'm coming about ordinance 169-16, fire hydrants. I have been shoveling that fire hydrant for over 40 years. My neighbors have benefited all that time by getting credits for the proximity to that fire hydrant. They get money. I get the labor. Yet, for over 40 years, this little old lady has been shoveling it, even though my neighbors have benefited even with a fire in the house. Last year did me in. It really did. At one time, I paid over $100 when the snow was almost to my height and froze. I think you all remember that horrible snowstorm. The fine of over $1,200 per day was the thing that really got me moving to shovel, since the people who were responsible for enforcing the ordinance had a habit of giving out summonses like they were Marilyn Monroe giving autographs. And I think you remember the last time I came here about the abuse of summonses. I respectfully request that this ordinance be changed so that the responsibility for the shoveling be shared by everybody who benefits. It's interesting because as you read this ordinance, it says that the owner, tenant, or occupant of any lands upon which a fire hydrant is located, or the owner, tenant, or occupant of any lands abutting the sidewalk upon which a fire hydrant is located, shall be responsible for keeping the fire hydrant clear of any obstructions. That's a pretty long sidewalk. It starts from Dunkirk and goes all the way to the cul-de-sac. I respectfully request that this ordinance be changed so responsibility is shared. Please help me and others who have been shoveling the hydrant that had the misfortune of landing on their property. And I think I'm one of the only old residents who has been in this town and had the responsibility of shoveling. I'm tired, gentlemen. I'm 82 years old.
Look good.
No, I'm 82 years young.
Yes.
I have a husband who is a World War II veteran who has been continuing in the hospital since June 5th of 2013. He's not capable, and I'm tired. Please do something, not only to help me, but to all the people who have had this responsibility placed on them when everybody benefits. Let's share the wealth and share the responsibility. Please help me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any
Look into it.
questions? Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know. Same thing.
All the short people come up here.
Oh, God, look at how tall that is.
Mary Przicki, 273 Marcella Road. The lady's right. At 80, isn't there a way where they used to have like the scouts, or say if somebody owns community service, that you can't have a list of people over a certain age of 70 who can't do what she's doing, and then they call and they have the responsibility to do it? When people have to do community service.
I think some Boy Scouts actually do that.
Yeah, and they actually do
Right.
that. So, I mean,
I
isn't
will,
there a way you can set
Yeah,
up
I'll
with
contact,
the mayor's office, the hotline,
we
and,
have a thing, yep.
yeah,
So,
would be nice.
we've done it in the winter, but
Yeah,
now we'll
that's
do
what
it
I
over
would
here.
think. That's what I would think. So that thank you very much for doing that, by the way. I don't even live there. Well, anyhow, I'm here because I had a curiosity and interest in the JCP&L lines. Even last year, I went to that first meeting, and they introduced a plan, which really I thought was not that good, but I don't understand the concept of why they can't share the poles between the power companies, but they say there's something with, I don't know, power or something. Well, anyhow, so now they submitted a new plan, which I really have to shake my head about, because the way I look at it, it's going to go through Sagamore Swamp. Is that true? Along the Rockaway? Now, doesn't the township own some of Sagamore Swamp? They bought it with open space. Are they going to infringe on the open space that the township owns?
You know what, I don't know if it's that piece of property you're talking about. I know one of the pieces of property is owned by that age restricted association. I think.
Because there was
that's what I think it is.
development that was proposed. I think it was in the 90s. Maybe
Right.
Michael would remember it because he was on the planning board at the time, and it was turned down. No, I think Mimi Letts was mayor then, because of the fact that when the Rockaway does take on too much water, that area would be east of Larkspur, I think, on Edwards Road. That's more or less of a retention basin, a holding area for that water. And if you have to fill it in, I would think that they would have to fill it in with pretty substantial type of dirt. You would have a problem if you compact the soil there, because the retention, I mean, of the overflow of the Rockaway goes there now. And then, you know, it's a retention basin, basically, plus a drainage area. I mean, I don't understand why they're picking that route. And then I still have a concern with where the ditch is between the Longhorn and that condominium association. I mean, that flooded in Irene, and it flooded a whole section of Arlington Plaza and that whole area out. And when you start disturbing that section too, you then are prone, I would believe, to more flooding. So who are we really benefiting here? Plus, visually, those stanchions are nothing but crucifix and crosses as far as I'm concerned. Visual concept for Parsippany, it's now you're going to have two of them. And for what benefit? For our benefit? What do we get out of it? Montville, yes, they get more electricity, so does Kenilon. What does Parsippany get? We get an eyesore, and we get potential problems with the environment, plus all the trees that they're going to take down. I mean, and I really think when you people look at this, you should really consider the impact of what can happen in that Rockaway River area to the Lake Hiawatha people itself, too, as far as flooding and retention, and the fact that it's an, you know, I mean, it's an absorption aquifer. That's that one.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds. Would you please all take a course in this Faulkner law so that maybe everybody can understand what the heck they do here? Because if you think that we understand what you were saying back there, Einstein wouldn't even figure it out. But I mean, you know, everybody's got responsibility, right? And just accept the fact that if that's his and yours, and he's telling you something, everybody listen. This meeting, who was talking over who? Nobody knows what's going on then. And I sure would like to know what's going on. No, maybe I don't want to know what's going on, to tell you the truth. But I mean, just listen to one another, please, okay? And let a person finish what they're trying to tell you. And then maybe absorb it and then figure it out. There's all branches of government, executive, just look at Washington, what a mess that is, because they don't listen. So now it's time for you people to listen to one another, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a quick question, Mr. Inglesino. I'm not saying that the town owns any of that property or it's open space, but if something were to be was purchased open space, it's deemed open space, would they still be able to go through that or no?
Well, they'd have to go through Green Acres. If it was purchased with open space money, with Green Acres restrictions, then there would have to be a diversion, what they call it, through Green Acres in order to utilize that property.
Okay. All right.
No, it wouldn't have to go back on a referendum. It would just have to go through the approval of Green Acres.
Thank you.
Down at the state.
Thank you.
Nancy Snyder, 226 North Beverwick Road. As a dedicated employee of New Jersey Transit, I will be passing along the information. Excuse me? I'll be passing along the information that Mr. Peluso brought up relative to unauthorized bus stops. But you know what? As an astute resident on North Beverwick Road, I can't help be a cynic here because I wrote each and every one of you about ongoing problems regarding violation of school bus zones, speeding laws, and I still don't have increased law enforcement on North Beverwick Road. So my faith in your request, Mr. Peluso, is quite thin. I hope the police department can change that around. In addition, I can't help but be frustrated for Mr. DePiero. Not that you need anybody to stick up for you, but I'm going to. So I'm happy the public library on Halsey has a new parking lot. That location is newer than Mr. DiPiero's request for improvement on Reynolds. Am I correct? I'm correct. In addition to that, North Beverwick Road needs to be paved. I made that request 5 years ago. Excuse me? And that met with no response. Vale, between South Roosevelt and North Beverwick, one half is paved, one half is not. So I'm not really sure what's going on here, but the east side of town is certainly not getting its fair share of paving. In addition to that, Ms. Sandman, I know your office has been looking into it. 42 North Beverwick Road, extremely dilapidated.
Yes.
It's bringing our property values down. I haven't received a status report since the day after I talked to you.
Yes, and then I know, yeah, and we owe you that update.
Okay. And that's really about it. I really honestly did not plan to talk about it today, but as I listen to this, it just baffles my mind that we put these requests on the police department that it seems to me, based on my observation, they can't fulfill the ones that are existing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
God, I'm getting weak. Got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk on one subject tonight.
Name and address.
Packatoch, 182 Hawkins Avenue. I attended the court case Monday of James Carifi. And what I heard and what I saw amazed me. Everything that the papers have written is true. Everything that was stated is true by Chief Phillips. Chief Phillips waived his attorney-client privilege because he spoke to Dennis Driscoll the night before the court. He went to court, okay? That's our police chief talking to our township attorney's firm prior to a court case which we are not handling. It's in Morris County. Chief Phillips admitted on the stand that John Inglesino was leading the investigation into Mr. Carifi. I asked, why is Chief Phillips taking orders from John Inglesino? This ID gun thing, Chief Phillips advised the courts again. Mr. Carifi had a spotless record. It was, why health safety? Nothing. The investigation on illegally downloading documents. In April of 2014 or 2013, it was said that the MCPO did their investigation and that no criminal charges were going forward, that there were nothing going to happen. But yet, all through last year's election period, we heard about this investigation still going on. And then I find out that Chief Phillips didn't sign that letter until July 25th. It's time. After the election. The mayor was still sending around campaign materials stating this investigation was under. Mr. Inglesino hired Aurora to investigate Carifi's computer without the township's council's consent or knowledge. That alone, to me, gives you the right to do what you want to do. Again, in court, we were told that somebody tried to access Mr. Carifi's computer remotely, and he has a picture of that. Accusation was made that Mr. Carifi took information off the police servers. Chief Phillips admitted he doesn't even have access to that. So, where did this come from? He was asked this question directly in court. This information was given to him by John Inglesino.
I can sit here and continue to go on, but I won't. All I'm going to say now is the residents of Parsippany are being lied to, and I'm using that word, lied. I don't want to hear anybody say I misspoke anymore, because when you say that, that means you lied, and you just don't want to admit it. You've been lying to the residents of Parsippany. I personally do not have any trust or faith in either Mr. Mayor Barbario or Mr. Inglesino. In all honesty, I do not. How much have these lawsuits brought by the town against Mr. Karifi cost us, taxpayers, to this date? Who benefits the most? Mr. Inglesino? I said this before. Seems to be a witch hunt. I would suggest, Mayor, stop this. I would say if we have any other lawsuits against Mr. Karifi, I would think we would be wise to drop them. We are not winning them. Accusations should not be made like this. An attorney that works for the township should not be running interference. Chief Phillips, I have a problem with. Why did he go along with all of this? Why is he doing this? Where's this directness coming from? As I've said in the past myself, and I especially think that, like I said, lawsuits should be dropped, any more outstanding, but Mr. James Karifi deserves an apology.
30 seconds.
And as far as our government goes, you're right. There are certain things council can do, certain things the mayor can do, and the mayor has stated since day one he's the mayor. What he says goes. And that's why I invited you guys out to the audience last week. Because to me it makes no sense. So we have a problem here. Never has the Faulkner Act been as abused as it was before, as it's being abused today. So maybe we should residents of Parsippany should consider a change in our type of government, because we cannot afford to keep going on like this. It's an embarrassment. There's no need to have these councilmen sitting up here if their votes are not being taken seriously. I am disgusted and dismayed. Thank you for making me feel so great in Parsippany.
Mr. Inglesino, can you respond to that?
I don't want to respond to Mr. Inglesino
You made
because
some
it's
comments I
under
think need to be
investigation, so.
responded to.
I can tell you this, Ms. Patachia, that you are grossly misinformed with regard to some of the things that you have, as I've indicated, Ms. Patachia, you are misinformed with regard to many of the matters that, or allegations that you have made. Mr. Mayor, I think probably the appropriate thing for me to do at the next meeting is to prepare a public update with regard to that case, because obviously there is a tremendous amount of misinformation that is out there in the community, and there probably needs to be that needs to be addressed. So I will prepare that for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
If anybody knows how to get a copy of the court records, please let me know and I'll get a copy.
There's other court records out there you should look at.
Under oath. This man was under oath.
There's other court records you should look at. I'm surprised you didn't open them.
That's all I care about.
You should, when you're there, just open some other ones, that's all. Just get them, Pat, that's all. I'll give you the date.
Nicholas Homiak, Lake Hiawatha. You were speaking about before, Robert, I happened to bring some books, so if you all want to read about or educate this CRS, and it doesn't stand what you think it stands for.
Yeah,
There's
please.
7 of these.
Thank you.
I'll give them to the clerk.
Clerk, thank you.
I only have 5 copies of these, but the last meeting, the Waterview people were here, And Mayor Barbario, it seemed like in a state of desperation, mentioned about speaking to his tax assessor. And I believe my tax assessor. Well, maybe you should.
What are you talking about? I don't know.
Last meeting, when the Waterview people
I made a
were
mistake
here.
in that. I'll correct myself.
Roy
knows.
The article is put out by Working for Smarter Growth, More Livable Places and Open Spaces, New Jersey Future, Chasing Their Tails, Municipal Rateable Chase Doesn't Pay. And to sum it up, whatever the reason, any municipality that thinks the secret to beating its neighbors at the property tax game is to score the next office park or shopping mall should probably take a look at the data first. As far as the race for non-residential property goes, the conventional wisdom is simply not there, supported by the evidence. And then to go along with that, economic benefits of protecting a healthy watershed. 5 copies of that. Mayor Barbario, you also made a statement in the Daily Record, and it was a disgruntlement because the Parsippany wasn't allotted the $3 million or $3.5 million for
Just
the
anything. That wasn't just the amount. Go ahead, Bill.
But what you're disgruntled about was a great thing that happened for everybody in the state of New Jersey. I'm just going to, located within the Great Swamp Watershed region, Gerelda Farm straddles the border between Chatham Township and, where is it? Borough of Madison. Although a portion of Gerelda Farms, the former Gerald R. Dodge Estate, has been developed into an office park. Another 136 acres of adjacent land remains undeveloped. In fact, this is the largest tract of undeveloped land in Morris County east of 287. Once protected, the rolling fields, forest streams, and wetlands of Gerelda Farms will enhance the natural splendor of 744 acres of land preserved next to the Lanoka Brook Reservation. Now, I think that's something that we should all be happy about, no matter whose money it is. Open space is for the common. And the fact that Parsippany hasn't asked for any
We did ask, and we gave
not
them...
for a buffer
we
zone,
gave
Mayor,
them
please.
40 we gave them $41 million over the 90, since 1993, to only get back 5.9. That was my statement. How you take it out of context is strictly up to you. But my statement was that we should get our fair share from the county. And this
But
was-
you have to ask for it.
And we did, and this was a good application. They even said it was a good application.
Not for a buffer zone, and then it would have sealed the deal with the
And let me go back to what I said.
developer.
I'm sorry, you're right, Councilman.
It would have sealed the deal with the developer, so it wasn't a good deal. It wasn't a good deal. We went back to square one with the lawsuit. It's not a good deal, and you wouldn't convince a third or a quarter of this town that it was. I have a thing here. The North Beverwick Cleanup North Beverwick program that began on March 2013. I typed up a
30
thing here.
seconds.
All right. Every time I'm going to leave these papers here, you have some 11. I should have thought 12. There's been improvements made up there, but there's a lot of work to be done. I'll leave you here with this little display.
Just give them to me. I'll make sure everybody gets a copy.
You can give it to, yes. You can give it to the clerk.
I'll make sure everybody gets a
Trying
copy.
to, well, we're not going to have by 10:30.
About the flood program. This is North Beverwick. I got one paper, two and a bunch of pictures. And this is the tax rateable.
Okay.
And healthy watershed.
Nick, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
I'll get everybody a copy tomorrow.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
And don't let your blood pressure get up.
Oh, hey, Nick, I'm controlling it now. I learned how to with our wellness coach.
I'll get it
Fairview
worked up.
Insurance got us. Anyway.
Here we go.
Hi, Roy Mesmer, 10 Drumlin Drive. Little levity here tonight. You can all pass this down and read it. A great state of New Jersey, how they waste our money. You pass that on to your friend, Chris Christie, I appreciate it. But I need that one back. Quick question here about the Garden State, Jeff, being that we're on the subject of insurance. Now, we've been with Garden State for 3 years. Have we gotten a credit, a rebate? I know we didn't get one from Morris County, Jeff. So we've been in the program 3 years, and the state law is you can't get a credit or rebate until after 3 years.
We'll look into it. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have an answer for
Because
that
what,
right
are we in
now.
the 5th year now? Right?
No, this is our third, and we
Three
need to
years.
go back out for
Can you let us
an
know the
RFP.
25th? I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
You mentioned this once before, too.
Well, that was the Morris County. I don't know
Yeah,
if
that
I
was a
mentioned the
different
Garden
Jeff.
State. I might have. Thank you, Ron. I just want to touch on something tonight. Well, two things, but and two other things. The solicitors. Let me tell you two bad experiences I had in my neighborhood. As you all know, and nobody's a bigger capitalist than me, and I understand advertising and stuff like that, but people are going to people's doors, whether every type of service business. And I had two bad situations. You could talk to Tom W. His daughter was involved in one. You know what I mean by Tom W. Cross guy, you know who it is. And both mothers called me up immediately because they were at work. Roy, can you get to my house? The door's being jimmied. Well, what it was those, like you do with your campaign
hangers.
stuff.
Door hangers.
You know, for landscaping or whatever it was. And it happened to be in one bad situation because the girl freaked out. I got to this one other house. The little girl, 13-year-old girl, gorgeous girl, had a knife in her hand. Okay, as I looked in the window. And of course, the mother didn't tell me she had called the police too. So the police showed up, so it looked like it was me. That's another story, part of the story. But you've got to, you see these people doing this, you got to find them immediately. Now, I realize, you know what I'm trying to say, because it's going to get around that you can't do this in our town. Now, there is one other situation, and I know John Inglesino mentioned it. There are certain nonprofit organizations, though, that can go around and don't have to get a permit. I don't know the total law now, which ones that applies to. Okay, so I touched on Garden State GIF. Next week we have that. I'm a little confused here because some information that I've researched, our stop loss with our self-insured medical plan, is it $125 or $250 per employee? Once we hit at $125, I was told years ago, I was up here, somebody spoke, whether it was Ryan Graham or Ada, somebody, it was $250. Now I find out it's $125. Our
You know
stop
what, Roy,
loss.
I don't know those numbers offhand.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know that too for next week, 2 weeks. The thing that bothers me here tonight too with this insurance, the way the government works, you go out for a PFQ, but then you go back out for a PFP. I mean, in the real world, you get both at the same time. You don't ask a company to give you a quote on a piece of equipment and then oh, okay, and then ask them for the price. No. You get both at the same time. What do you mean no?
You mean an
No, we're asking for the price. It's just a request for qualifications.
Right, but why can't we also get the PFP at the same time?
Because the quote-unquote price is not paid by the town. There is no check that goes to the broker from the town.
All right, then this leads me to my next question. Ryan Graham and his brother stood up here tonight and said they handle the claims. They have that 800 number, the website. I'm not an employee of the town, but Lou has been an employee of the town. But so then if somebody's got to help me out here, where does IDA come in? I thought they handled the claims. All Ryan Graham was, or Fairview, was the broker. Where does IDA come in? Don't they handle the claims? Don't they
IDA
review that
does
we're not
handle
being
them, but
overcharged?
they oversee. They're the broker, and they manage the process.
Right. Oh, hold on a second. Well, then what does IDA do? If his
Oh, they
wife
process.
IDA is a processor. Fairview
I need an example.
negotiates
I'm confused.
for the employees.
If I go to a doctor and I tell them my insurance company's IDA, they'll send a bill to say IDA. Okay, in that process, I say, listen, it hasn't been paid yet, why not? Well, now I go to the broker, who then manages it and handles IDA. That's one way. And then they try to get the claim paid, like you said before. Is it covered? Is it all those types of things?
They act as an intermediary.
Right.
But IDA, like say if you went, I'm not pushing this on any town employee, but if you're going for appendicitis attack, and you have your appendix taken out, and it's $20,000 from, say, Morristown Hospital. they'll say, oh, no, you overcharged us, it should be 18? Is that where IDA comes in? Or they just the check writer?
No. The IDA negotiates rates. Understand, our health plan is through AmeriHealth, okay? IDA is a third-party administrator who reviews the claims. The health provision is under AmeriHealth's plan. Okay, so if you go to the doctor, that's why Mr. Inglesino was talking about the importance of having, with a self-insured broker of record of services, because what they do is they go to market and negotiate what fees that doctors can charge for certain services. So what you do is you get a charge, $20,000, and there's an agreed upon rate with that provider, because they're in our network, as to how much they're going to be compensated for that.
No, I understand that. So now we got this other company, America Health, you said?
No, AmeriHealth.
AmeriHealth.
That's the umbrella. Picture it this.
They're the umbrella plan. They're not the
I'm
ones that
sorry.
are
No. No umbrella.
Oh.
Let me use a different word.
All right.
AmeriHealth is the healthcare provision. For example, whatever our plan calls for. Our plan calls for X amount of benefits in terms of WellCare visits. Whatever our plan has, in-network providers. Okay, and the plan also allows for, depending on what an employee chooses, out of network benefits. The IDA processes those claims coming through, ensuring that they're in compliance with that health plan. Keep in mind, AmeriHealth also reviews claims.
All right.
And they negotiate rates with our in-network providers. So if you go to the doctor in network, Roy, and that doctor charges $300, well, the in-network benefit is probably negotiated at half that. And that's the purpose of having a broker of record services. You want them negotiated on your behalf.
I mean, Jamie's not a license, well, no mayor's can go to insurance companies and negotiate. I understand that part. But now we got 3 layers here. So I don't see why we're paying about $11.50 to IDA, who basically just sounds to me that they write checks.
No,
Last
they
thing,
review
Ellen,
the
I want to
claims.
leave you with, because I had a real problem with Jasmine's last year budget.
30 seconds.
I'll go real quick. All of us sit back here and we hear how well Fairview has done in our wellness program. But yet you budget, not you weren't here then, you budget the full amount and taxless taxpayers. But yet the insurance plan is doing so well. We reduced our rates. Our claim loss ratio is low. And to me, and I got to say this, to me, it's just another account here that's a little bit of a slush fund, that we've got a built-in, over budget. So if you need it for something else, you got it there. Okay? That's all. Did you follow me what I said there?
I certainly did.
Thank you.
I'll be bringing it up again if I'm around. Good.
Jonathan Nelson, 202 Patriots Road. I wasn't going to talk at all tonight, but Paul, really go back and check what you just said and review what happened at the budget seasons and when we had this discussion last year. Because I remember specifically that it was said that the reason why we use IDA is they create the network. They're basically, even though we're a self-insured company, IDA is the processor, and they're the ones who create the network, and they handle all the claims.
Yes, they do. Within the
AmeriHealth
provision
doesn't-
through AmeriHealth.
But I was under the impression that AmeriHealth was the what's the term? The gap insurance over, if you go over the amount, I think it was $225,000.
No, AmeriHealth is our health plan. Okay, that's the health plan that the township utilizes. IDA does process the claims put through AmeriHealth.
Am I wrong? Am I misremembering this?
AmeriHealth is not excess.
They're the carrier, correct? AmeriHealth's the carrier?
Yeah.
No, we're self-insured. Let's just backtrack. We're self-insured. I was under the impression, I don't remember, whenever we had this long discussion last time, that IDA created the network. They're like, we're our own health insurance company, but IDA is the one that manages it and pays all the claims.
They do. They process our claims. Yes, yes, they process our claims, and the township pays for the claims. And they have a negotiated rate within the AmeriHealth plan. That is our health plan.
I just don't remember that. I just don't remember that. this is so confusing.
It is
I mean,
confusing.
we got smart people who it's just going in circles that people just can't grasp on it. Just so I can understand it, when an employee goes to the doctor,
Right.
and IDA has a negotiated price for whatever claim that was, they'll pay it. And I'm assuming, or I remember hearing, that every month IDA has a list of all the claims that need to be paid out, and then the CFO will write a check to IDA, and then IDA will pay out to all the different doctors and hospitals.
That's correct.
The other part that you're losing me, and I think you're losing other people, when you budget for the health care every year, Jasmine and Joe said that they wanted to be conservative, and they were budgeting for the maximum amount, and that was
Right.
the maximum amount per employee until you got to that number, which nobody remembers whether it was 125 or 250. I think it was 225 per employee, but whatever it is that how you're actually budgeting it? So let's say you take the X amount of people who are covered times, let's say $225,000. That's the number. And is that how much you're budgeting just in case to cover? Because that's the maximum that the town would be exposed to. Is that how we come up with the number?
I wasn't involved in that budgeting, but I think what you're referencing is the fact that there was discussion on how that budget is. There's a tail with the insurance budgeting, which Roy has brought up several times. So you budget for, you look at your budget year, but claims are coming in for a 6-month period after that. So that's why you budget conservatively based on the expectation that after 6 months, you're going to get that claim
I know,
cost.
they're going over to the calendar year, I
Anything
understand.
catastrophic as well.
Well, the catastrophic is over, nobody remembers the number.
I don't recall
what
the
that is.
catastrophic coverage.
But we have, the town, the whole point is the town has a limit to what our exposure is per employee.
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't know what it is offhand.
So, to follow up with the council, and this wasn't my fight here, without the broker, we still have IDA. We just don't have anybody to be a liaison between the town employees and our health, I'm putting provider in parentheses, our healthcare processor, let's put it that way. I guess that's what it comes down to.
Well, actually, Mr. Inglesino, I don't really think so. If Fairview's not in place, I mean, that's a relationship with the broker and the...
No, we have a contract with IDA that the council had to pass.
I think you heard Mr. Graham say that they've been involved in processing 500 to 1,000 claims. So to say that they're not actively involved in processing claims is just
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
I don't understand
But I'm
your
hearing that IDA processes the claims.
30 seconds.
That's where we're getting lost.
No, they're really not getting lost. What Fairview does is they negotiate claims. And what IDA does is they do the processing. Fairview does the negotiation of claims in terms of what is going to be paid.
Okay, I know my time's up. So Fairview negotiates with IDA. Guess? Yes?
I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Good evening, folks. Richard Young, 179 Intervale Road. Want to compliment you all for the part that you've had to do in helping things to move ahead with Manor Lake Dam. I know a lot of folks are reasonably concerned about that, and it's great to see that's moving ahead.
Thank you.
This thing on insurance just seems to have us all scratching our heads. And so I think we probably ought to look and figure out some more. I heard a few minutes ago from Mr. Inglesino that we don't pay Fairview, but Fairview's getting paid somehow. Who are they being paid through?
IDA.
Through IDA, and that's the claims processor?
IDA is the third-party administrator.
Be real interesting to understand, because when you come down to it, as taxpayers, we're all paying into that, and somehow they're getting paid. And it'd be real interesting to understand just why everybody's needed in this equation, and then go ahead and continue the great look that you're doing at other candidates so that we really understand where this is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, see no one else come forward, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Stanton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Valori. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Mr. DePiero, Resolution 2014-173.
Resolution 2014-173. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills placing a lien on a particular property for failure to abate dangerous conditions on property. Block 716, Lot 10. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Mr. Paluso?
Resolution 2014-174, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills placing a lien on a particular property for failure to abate dangerous conditions on property. Block 547, Lot 1. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes, Mr. Stanton.
Resolution 2014-175, Resolution Township Council, Township Parsippany-Troy Hills authorizing an interlocal services agreement between the Township and the County of Morris Department of Human Services, Division of Aging, Disability Veteran Services to lease an area to Community Center to operate a nutrition center, 2015.
Council
Second.
President, before you take a motion on that, I've asked Barbara to come out and asked for these to be on for action because I certainly won't be at the next not certainly, but I won't be at the next meeting because I won't be here. But if you have any questions, I did ask Barbara, and maybe you could come up with one since she waited through the whole, no, I'm teasing. But she's here to answer any questions on this resolution as well as the other. They're pretty straightforward, but I did ask Barbara to come here in case there were any questions on this.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara, you do a great job. Thank
There
you
you
very
go.
much. Just one,
Yes, go ahead.
one thing is that, it's a lot of unsung people that we don't celebrate in our township, and you've been around for a long time, you've done a terrific job, so, thank you, and that round of applause is certainly good.
Okay, motion
Thank
made by
you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Stanton,
Thank you.
Second.
seconded by Mr. Valori. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes, Mr. Valori.
Resolution 2014-176, a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills authorizing an interlocal service agreement with the Township of East Hanover for Public Health Services.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Valori, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Closed session, resolution, whereas the Open Publics Meeting Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the Township Council wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, a potential litigation matter, and whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills that the public be excluded from this meeting. Motion made by myself.
And Mr. Creeves, just for the record, RD Realty, the tax appeals that are listed on the agenda, Pilgrim Pipeline and Glenmont Commons are the topics for our closed session.
Okay. Motion made by myself, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
We're on.
Make a motion to reconvene into open session.
Motion made by Mr. Stanton, seconded by Mr. Valori. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Entertain a motion during the meeting.
Make motion.
Motion made by Mr. Valori, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Good night,
Have a good night.
everyone.